Hey, buddy.
What's going on?
Nothing.
What's going on?
It feels like that I was just here.
You were?
And I'm very unhappy to be back.
When were you here last?
Last Saturday.
Was it? Or did we do it? No, we did it Friday.
Yeah, whatever it was. Not long enough ago.
Well, let's get the housekeeping out of the way.
Yep. Let's go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to skip the first one.
No, go ahead and shout out the first one.
No.
Okay.
Two Brothers podcast with Troy and Trevor. Trevor also has his own podcast, the Trevor Jackson podcast, and then Friday nights with his nephews, I think, or cousin and nephew.
His brother,
them Jackson boys. Actually, we're gonna have them on one evening at some point in the near future. Redneck News Entertainment and the Redneck Review podcast with Cody and Quint. And you got Andy Harris on Twitter at the Andy Harris. Go find our retweet of him doing Daniel Craig from Knives Out.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know how I missed that a year ago. It's really good. Yeah. T-shirts and stickers, b3fpodcast.com. Go to the link there and tell us what you really think and anonymously rate and review us.
See, I love Andy, but I feel like that you're a much bigger fan of Andy than I am.
I like Andy. I think he's a funny guy.
I tolerate Andy.
I want him to get his blue check mark.
I want my spike check mark. So we usually, and you weren't going to give him the satisfaction this time around. Because,
because he's going to get enough promotion.
Yeah. Well, okay. First and foremost, we are drinking tonight sour beers. Yeah. Because our guest said he was drinking beers.
Yeah. So we have two different ones. We have Monday Night Brewing's Dr. Robot, a blackberry lemon sour, because it's warming up outside and it's sour time.
Yep. And we had a little bit of a switcheroo.
We did.
So we had said last week we were going to be drinking Bacardi and Coke tonight, but our guest, being young fellers, decided to fucking bail like a bunch
one
of
them did. The other one was willing to come.
He was like, oh yeah, he suddenly remembered he had a graduation he had to go to.
Yeah, cousin's graduation in Nashville.
It's fucking stupid. And it's a cousin. It's not like it's a brother or sister or some bullshit. So
I think he's black.
I don't give a shit.
Tight knit.
I don't give a shit. And then so our guest, who's going to be next week, was gracious enough and got permission from his wife to allow him to come on for this week. And this is a dude we promote every week as friends of the show. He's the first guy that always gets listed off. He's a cocky motherfucker, but I like him a lot. He sends me nudes.
Nice.
So that's always good. But we got Mr. CQ. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, fellas? You know what? I'm not going to keep sending you. I'm not sending you nudes anymore. If you're going to tell everybody about it, that was between us.
Well, I'm not sharing them with anybody else. I'm just,
still.
I'm bragging. I'm bragging that I have them.
It's a private matter. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, man. Thanks for being on tonight.
Yeah.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So I was actually going to say we also have Sierra Nevada's Wild Little Thing as well.
Yeah.
They swap back and forth.
Yeah. And so I wasn't joking. I when I hit CQ up earlier in the week, I was like, hey man, we've had some changes around. If you can't, it's cool. But if you want to come on this weekend, we can do it. And he's like, well, how late can I let you know? I was like, as long as it's by Friday. He said, because I'm in the doghouse right now, and I need to. The longer I wait to ask, the better.
Can I? First of all, can I explain? I want to clear the air here.
I was going to ask you to explain what was. Tell us about this dog.
Okay. All right. So before I lose you in the audience, I need y'all to be first on my side and then see how it plays out.
Like Captain America.
So Monday of this past week was my son's birthday. He turned 4.
Right.
Now, we celebrated on Saturday, as you do, so that more people could be involved and whatever. So we had the family, we had the friends. We've all been inoculated, so we're all like, it was fine. But we did the whole celebration Saturday. He opened gifts. We played all day. Now, Sunday, as you might know, was Mother's Day. So I told my wife, Mom, what would you like? How can I make this day about you? And she goes, you know what? I just want to chill. I don't want to be responsible for nothing. I said, cool. I got you. I did the breakfast. I did the lunch. I did the dinner. I took care of the kid, played with him all day. He had a bunch of new toys, so I had to build all his toys, and we played. So it's 2 days of really me and my son having some time. And Monday comes along, and I work all day, did my 9 to 5, and I said, hey, listen, tomorrow, because Tuesdays are my live show, I said, tomorrow I got a big guest coming on. I'm going to be working all day, almost right up until showtime. I had this big thing at work. So I said, I don't have time to really, like, I need time to prep for my show, right? I got interviews. I do, I put a good effort into creating a good show. And so she goes, well, I'm taking, I wanted to take Logan, our son, to his cousin's house because it's his birthday. And I said, well, I love you. I love him. But I just celebrated 2 days of his birthday. And he doesn't realize today's his birthday. He's 4 now. He doesn't understand the concept of birthday. I think I can miss this because y'all just going to go over there, eat some pizza, and sing happy birthday. It's not a big deal. And she understands. Like, she understands that I'm passionate about my show and I put my time in my show. So she let it happen. But I knew immediately I was going to pay for it. And she was not happy that I missed our son's birthday, which, like, come on. I didn't really miss it. Like, I see him all day, every day. I work from home, so I see him all day. But either way, I was like, you know what? Right when you asked me, I was like, it might not be a good time to be asking for favors. And then the other thing was today, Saturday, like happening right now, outside this wall, my wife's having a patio party for all her and her girlfriends. They're like doing nails and they're like drinking the wine and doing the nails, whatever the fuck chicks do. And so I said, listen, I need to do this thing from 8 to 9. You're supposed to be watching Logan. I'm like, come on, give me an hour. And so anyway, she's cool with it. We're fine. I do a little extra dad duty, husband duty throughout the week, and I earned some free time. I'm not pussy whipped, I swear to God.
I don't know if that story particularly got anyone on your side, but at least we understand the situation.
Yeah, it's all about the context.
Monday in the doggy style house, you know what I'm saying?
Top, your boy.
I put in a little extra work. I'm good.
That's also not true.
Oh, I'll take the high five back.
But anyway. I'm happy to be here, man. I'm happy to be here, you guys.
Yeah, man. I think, God, it's been a while since you were actually on. He called in one time a few months ago, but
yeah. I think it was the first time you guys went live. I was like, man, I wanted to be the first caller, but I don't think I made it quite to first caller status. But yeah, but I saw you guys were live, and I was like, oh shit, this is my chance. Jump in uninvited.
You're always invited.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I thought it's odd, kind of ironic though that when he was on the last time, I said you remind me of comedian Paul Verzi, and the story you just told about the Mother's Day is exactly the story I just heard Paul Verzi tell on his podcast I listened to this morning, which is interesting, to say the least.
Great minds, man. Great minds.
So you say you had a big guest the other night. Who was your big guest?
Yeah. So honestly, the last couple of weeks have been phenomenal. This past week, Tuesday, was Seth Herzog, who might not be a household name, but he's a comedian who, he's been around the block. He's been doing comedy forever, real popular in the New York scene. He's like, when you go see a live taping of Jimmy Fallon, the late night show, he's the resident comedian. Like, he comes out, he performs, keeps the crowd going. Work. Yeah, he does all the crowd work. He hosts one of the longest running comedy showcases in New York City, this thing called Sweet. He's got the podcast. He does Instagram Live. He's phenomenal dude, super talented, really cool dude. He had me on his Instagram show once. And then I said, hey, man, return the favor. Let me get you on my show. And so he did it. And then the week before that, which was our big one, was Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? So that was
I love Colin Mockery. Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome. That was a phenomenal conversation. He was so sweet, just a really down-to-earth guy. So it was chill.
Yeah, you crush it with a guest.
Oh yeah,
we collectively hate you for it, but it's always awesome to see.
Don't make me blush, boys. Don't make me blush.
Well, it's one of those things. Like, we've gotten the caliber of our guests as a whole have increased significantly. Then we have, low episodes like this one, but right. But we don't have the pull. But we've had. You consistently have really great guests. And don't get me wrong, like, we enjoy all the guests that we have, and we've had a couple, like, mostly dudes off the History Channel, a couple of the Forged and Fire guys, and some shit like that. And then Andrews
Erickson,
and Freddy Krueger glove guy, and I shot you a message with some of that
info
because fit right in. We also pitched you to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to do it." And he doesn't do interviews, so you're welcome. God damn it!
I'm okay. So here's the funny thing. I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm gonna be as truthful as I can in this moment. When I am Michael myself, I'm the most humble, most reserved, most quiet guy.
Most pussy whipped.
When most pussy whipped, absolutely. When the hat comes on, when it's CQ, when it's the larger than life character takes over, I am braggadocious. I am outwardly. I am way over the top. It's definitely a stage persona. So yes, I will say I'm the greatest show host of all time. I run the greatest it's like the greatest show you've never heard of. Right. I'm crushing it, man. I'm crushing it. But no, I'm truly honored. I'm fortunate. I'm lucky. If I can be Michael for a second, I'm incredibly blessed. I've been very fortunate. I've obviously survived ridiculous things that I shouldn't have survived, and now I get to do this stupid little thing for fun, and have been really fortunate to have some good supporters and honestly all the big guests up to this point, right? So we're talking Clark Gregg, Matt Eisman from American Ninja Warrior, Rod Lurie, director of The Outpost, like all these big guests that I had were literally like a friend of a friend hooked it up. Like this was not me having any kind of pull other than like I happen to be friends with Clark Gregg's cousin from so I'm like, hey, can I get Phil Coulson to be on my show? And they're like, yeah, he's my cousin, he'll do it for me. Now that we've established a little bit of something and we've earned that street cred, so to speak, I'm having a little bit of success in that, like reaching out to publicists and reaching out to managers, reaching out to talent agents and saying like, hey, like you got talent, give me someone in the world of pop culture, give me someone in entertainment, give me an actor, give me a writer, give me a director, I'll take them. And we're still at that, I mean, between us boys, I'm still at that like C level, maybe bumping the ceiling towards B level. But we've been lucky, man. We've been very lucky. The show's been great. We got a lot of great guests coming from Efren Ramirez, who played Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite. He's coming up. Carter Bays is this week. So Tuesday we have Carter Bays. He created How I Met Your Mother. He was the writer, creator, executive producer. We've got Keith David, who's a legendary actor and voice actor. I mean, I grew up on Gargoyles. Oh my God! If you heard his voice or saw his face, you know exactly who he is.
He does a couple of voices here and there on Rick and Morty. He also was the internet programmer guy on Community in the season.
Oh, okay.
Lived in a mobile home. That's Keith.
Yeah, he plays like the black president, or is it black president or the commander in chief or whatever on Rick and Morty. If you remember Gargoyles, the animated series.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was Goliath, man. That's how I grew up. Goliath on Gargoyles. So he's coming on. That's gonna be a huge get. Another voice actor from Animaniacs, Rob Paulson. He did Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. So just a bunch, man. We're very fortunate. I think that when we just locked in July 20th, we're gonna have Jonathan Frakes. He was Riker on Star Trek, so like the second most popular character on Star Trek, the Next Generation. So beard. The beard, yes, the beard. So yeah, we've been fortunate, and just keep, like, I feel like if I just do the best job I can do on each show, and I know you guys probably feel the same way, I can just do the best job I can do on this show, and then do a little bit better on the next show, and then do a little bit better on the next show. Like, eventually I'm going to be at a place where it's the best show ever seen, and that's the goal.
Yes, we like to think of ourselves as the worst show you've never heard of. So we try to take the other side. But you also had what's his name? Berthenol, the Dude played Punisher, Walking Dead.
John Bernthal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say his name back, but yeah, I mean, it was a huge guest you guys had.
Yeah. We've been very fortunate, man. We've been very fortunate. That was one of those that hasn't seen the light of day. I played a little clip of us. We had a private Zoom call where we chit chatted about a couple things. I stole a quick, I posted it to the page. I stole a quick thing. So basically, for that, a peek behind the curtain is that every once in a while, a celebrity will, want to knock out some press, and it's you don't really know about it in the mainstream doesn't really know about it, but it's like when you see that exclusive magazine post something on their thing, we talked to John Bernthal, whatever, they'll do like a phone call, a conference call, and he's talking to like 20 different outlets at the same time, and people can ask questions and he answers them, and then that's how they get stuff for their publication. So they did like basically a Zoom version of that. So it was me and a bunch of other streamers, podcasters, media outlet people. I got to sit on that one. I sat in on Captain America and Black Widow. So Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans, they did one. Norman Reedus did one. So I kind of got, for like 2 or 3 weeks, I was kind of on the circuit of like doing stuff. And I was hoping that if that would kind of backdoor me into like maybe an interview, it didn't go that way. And so that's why I kind of stopped doing them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You have to try. So I stopped doing them just because I felt like there were other avenues I could approach to get people on my show. That was cool to show off for sure, flex and humble brag whatnot. But
it's funny. Like I've always had this thing with celebrities. Like it doesn't matter how much I'd like to meet a celebrity, whatever. I feel like if I was in that position and I was just out doing some shit, I wouldn't want to be fucking bothered. And I get that's part of being famous and all that type of shit. But like, it's about Norman Reedus when he was doing that motorcycle ride cross country. He came through Fayetteville when I was there, and I just briefly heard about it. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was fucking downtown on the square, only person fucking there. And Norman Reedus goddamn pulled up on his motorcycle and was out doing some shit. Nobody else was around, and I was like, oh, I could go up and say hi and whatever. And I was like, can't do it. I can't. My pride will not let me be like, hey, I've seen you on TV. So I just fucking drove on by. I kind of waved out the window, and that was it. And to this day, I'm like, I probably should have fucking, said some shit, but I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah. It's I get you.
And I'm disappointed that you was like, listen, in about 10 years from now, I'm going to have a podcast and I'd like for you to be a guest.
on if I should ever have a podcast, I'd love for you to be on, I get that though.
And it's just me being really probably like, it doesn't matter how impressed I'd be like, you know what? I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. I'm not talking to that asshole.
You can lie to everybody else. You can't lie to yourself.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. I know that well enough. But it's a combination of the two. Me being like, no, I don't want to be impressed by anybody. And then two, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I can be. I don't mind being impressed with them, but I don't like bothering people.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Now, if it was Ryan Reynolds, dude, I'd be over there pants down.
Maybe I would just be like, yell at them like, hey, big fan, and then keep moving rather than stop them. Hey, can we take photos and things like that? But at this point though, I'm pretty shameless. I do anything to have something to share on here to get somebody on the podcast.
Gotta get the exclusive, man. Gotta get that exclusive. It's honestly, I've had a couple people, now that we've been banking some I don't even want to say big guests, but notable people you've heard of. I get people asking me, oh, how'd you get this guy, how'd you get that? And I'm like, like I said before, I was through friends and friends, but now it's just establishing relationships with different PR companies and different talent agents, and saying like, look, man, I just give me a chance, give me someone who needs a bump, and I'll give them that bump, and then once you see what I can do, then that opens kind of the floodgate. They trust you a little bit better.
Yeah, oh for sure. We have kind of a unique problem though, just with our content. You have a lot of celebrity or just whatever, they're like, it's not their brand. They don't want to put that out there associated, which we get. We're never like, how dare they not want to come on this podcast? Like, no, I wouldn't come on this podcast if I had any notoriety. But most of our bigger guests have just come through like kind of like that. Like we had one, and then that kind of opened the door up to have another guy come on. But most of mine was just like shotgun blast via email, because when you get to use, like you said, an upper level, there's a wall that's between
multiple walls.
Multiple between that and the celebrity. But you have a handful depending, like you say, D-list pushing C-list. ours have been all like A-lists on one channel, like with a specific fan base, but they're dudes that are pretty easy to get a hold of. They don't have those layers, between it. And, first was well, as far as the stream we had, one guy was in a big ska band when we were kids that we loved the shit out of, called 5 Iron Frenzy, big ska band in the 90s, and had him on, and that was just a random. I shot him a message on fucking Twitter, like it was whatever. And then Will Willis off of Forged in Fire was the first guy that we had on that was like a TV guy.
Yeah.
And then because of him, we got Jay Nielsen, the main judge off of Forged in Fire. I say the main ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
The best one.
The best one, sure. And and then from there, like Anders Erickson is friends with Jay, and so that worked out. So it just kind of snowballed on. And now that we've had a few like that, like you said, it kind of works. You have a little bit of notoriety in the sense of, hey, we have had some established guests. We're not just not just a couple douchebags jerking each other off in our basement. It's there's a little more than that. And
not just
that's just the icing on the cake.
On top of that.
Right. Well, what we get a lot of, which I like, and Joey mentioned this on an episode not long ago, is most of the guys that have come on and have been like, hey, we didn't just talk about like Forged in Fire the whole fucking time. We talked about a ton of other shit, and we had a really, really good time because it wasn't just in that one pocket. So, like you messaged us, or when we were talking about coming on, you're like, well, what are we talking about? I was like, fuck if I know, man. We're just
right.
Wait, what's a topic? What's that mean?
Like we try to prep a little bit, right? Like have a few things at least as a starting point, but then it's just, like that's what we were talking about. We'll have CQ on tonight. We'll catch up on the show, see what's been going on with him, show each other a little bit, and then it'll go where it goes, type of thing.
No, I love the way you guys do things. I love the style. But I wholeheartedly agree with you as far as how to interview these people. My big thing is, if I have these people on my show, I don't want to ask the same question they've been asked 22,000 times. These people are professionals in the sense that they do interviews all the time. So like, how can I be different? How can I'm a big admirer of, if you ever watched Hot Ones with Sean Evans, he's a phenomenal interviewer. He asks the questions that you're like, oh shit, man, I didn't even think I would want to know something like that, but it's a great question. So, I mean, mine is obviously
barbecue vagina.
Yes,
he is at this.
Oh
point.
my god,
being that young and
nerdy girls.
What to blow up to? No, not even nerdy girls at this point.
I bet that's his biggest fan base, though. Yeah, it's either that or bro boys,
publicists.
That's a good one.
Anyway,
but yeah,
sorry,
no. We I try to focus on like, look, yes. For a perfect example is Clark Gregg. Okay, he's Phil Coulson. Everyone knows him as Phil Coulson. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Avengers. Yeah. But I said, okay, out of an hour-long interview, maybe 15 or 20 minutes of that is going to be what people want. Oh, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And that's why I'll take questions from the audience, because I know it's going to be, oh, what did you think about the ending of Avengers? Are you coming back? Blah, blah, blah. I let the audience ask those questions. I'll focus on like, hey man, you came up in the 80s. You were doing this and this and that. You had a background in theater. What was it like going from this to that? How'd you get your big break? I want to know the person behind the character that they're known for. And that has given me a modicum of success in the sense that I've had a lot of people after the fact tell me like, Louis Anderson. I had comedian Louis Anderson on, and he legit, I have the email. I fucking framed that shit. He said in 30 years of the business, that was the best interview he's ever done. And I'm like, holy shit. Like that hits me dead center.
That's saying something because Louis Anderson has been in fucking everything.
Yes.
He probably has a stack of those pre-printed.
It's the standard reply all format. Like, thanks for having Louis Anderson on.
Word document changes it from 29 years to 30 years and then sends it back out.
Once a year. He's got to change it once a year.
He's one of the handful of people that was in Coming to America 1 and 2. I mean, he's the white guy in that movie.
He's the white guy. But no, Rod Lurie, who directed The Outpost, again, sent me an email after the fact and said, look, during me promoting The Outpost, and given that this was COVID situation, obviously it was supposed to be released in theaters, but he goes, coming on your show was the most impactful interview I had during the entire promoting of that movie. And
oh wow,
yeah,
that's huge. And obviously we have a big veteran community, and that was why it kind of garnered as much response as it did. But yeah, like that's a huge thing for me when I get, I had Eddie McClintock, who was agent or Warehouse 13. He was the main guy. We talked for 2 hours. I asked for 1 hour. I said, dude, give me 1 hour. It's like 45-ish, 50 minutes because of bumpers and intros, outros. But I said, give me, 45 minutes an hour, and I'll do my best to that. We hit an hour, and I'm like, all right, hey man, it's been great. We're out of time. He goes, oh, I'm having a blast. Let's keep this going. I'm like, well, you ain't gotta fucking tell me twice. All right, let's go. And we talked for 2 hours, and really, it was me going like, hey, bud, we gotta wrap this thing up.
Well, we've gotten, similar, and it's really encouraging. Like we've had a couple people have told us that the same thing. It's like I had so much fun on your show. Like we'll come back on in a heartbeat. Like this is one of the best interviews, that type of shit. And not because, like I said, for any reason, just they had fun, and that was the big thing. Is they didn't have. Nobody's ever said we were impactful by any stretch.
But no, you guys bring fun. You guys bring lightheartedness. It's not comparing apples to apples, right? We very two different shows. And
no, it is. I want to be better than you. That's what I'll
okay, better apples, worse bananas. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But no, what you guys bring is a very, laissez-faire? Laissez-faire? Is that the word? I'm trying to sound smart. But you're just calm, relax, chill, and that's something that a lot of people don't get a lot of. We both know if again Louis Anderson goes on Conan, he gets 5 minutes to promote what he's doing today and get the fuck out. So if you can provide that atmosphere of like, hey man, let your hair down, let's fucking reminisce.
Long form,
these guys, they've been in the business forever. They want to reminisce. Let's talk about the good old days when you were at the height of your career. They love that shit. They love that. Well,
that's the beauty of podcasting, is because most of those conversations can be long form. There's a handful out there that mimic radio shows.
Yeah,
but that's why there's such a popularity with like Joe Rogan, because it's just you don't know. It could be 2 hours. Like I think he talked to Robert Downey Jr. for an hour and a half, 2 hours, but he had Dave Chappelle on the day. It was over 3 hours long, and people just like to feel like they're just sitting in the room listening to somebody shoot the shit. Like, they liked, maybe not everybody does. I like to hear the mundane conversations that these kind of that celebrities and comedians have with each other whenever they're not trying to do publicity.
But it's what it does. It's giving you a glimpse of somebody you're fascinated with, and it's a glimpse of maybe who they really are without that public front up, right? They're a little more vulnerable in the conversation and what they talk about and opinions. The fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. My favorite compliment we've gotten is when Jay Nielsen was like, "You guys are a couple of sick fucks," and he goes, and I like it.
Yes.
Like, well, thank you.
Well,
that's awesome.
even Pete DeSalvo, which congratulations, he just signed a contract with a Carolina team that he's already gone. He's already left Knoxville.
That fucking asshole.
I know. I hit him up.
Pete.
I hit him up and I said, "Hey man, I need to have a beer with you before you leave." And he's like, "Sorry, I'm already gone." But evidently, their season's still going.
Okay.
And so he's gone, but. So what he said after, he's like, this was the most fun because we didn't just talk about hockey all night long. Granted, we had to cut out half of what we talked about.
So he didn't get suspended from the league. But
Right. But, imagine if we had gotten him suspended from the league, he would have never broke the record. Or anything.
That's what I'm saying. So really, the fans of the Knoxville fucking Ice Bears can thank us for the records he set in the city.
That's true,
yeah. He came on and we had the interview and had a great time, and it was live. And then he messaged me afterwards because we try to let everybody know what they're getting into ahead of time. It's like, hey, we don't edit. What's said is said. It's just, it's how it is. Like,
real life.
If that bothers you, then you don't have to come on. It won't hurt our feelings. But just, so you know. And we got into some shit. And he stayed pretty neutral on most of it.
Yeah.
But we
had a couple of jokes here and there. But,
but then he messaged me later. It's like, oh man, I hate to ask this. He goes, but I just realized like I'm going to get in big trouble with the league. Can you take out this and basically everything between this time and this time? And it's probably the first episode that I've edited heavily.
Yeah. We took one episode down and then we edited that one. Basically, that's really it. So we say we edit nothing, but if you're popular enough or we like you enough, then we'll edit a little bit.
If we could possibly ruin your life or career, we'll edit it.
Right.
Well, and that really would depend too. Like at some point, it's like you're responsible for your own shit. Like the one we took down is I felt like I owed that person a favor.
I got you.
That was the only reason that happened. And then with Pete, like we're both fans of the local the semi-pro team.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we don't want to see them suffer because he's their best goalie. So if we don't edit this, it's gonna fuck us over. So
yeah. But
good
for you guys, man. That's
like,
it's good to have a code, but there are, hey, there's always exceptions to the rule.
Right. Well, that's like we've talked about. If depending on there's a couple guests that I would have on, like I'd be willing to not cuss the entire episode to have them on. Whereas 90% of people, I'd be like, no, fuck you. I'm gonna, I talk how I talk. But like there's this one guy where I went to Bible school in Florida. He was the president of that and has gone on to do some other stuff. He has debate radios and he's a big fucking biblical scholar guy. And he would never come on the show. But if I could get him on, I'd be willing to like bite the tongue really hard and, go full just to talk to the dude. And, because I want to ask him questions, man. I'm like, you have to be aware of this. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that rant, but fuck that shit, man. It comes out of my loathing for church now, from the past and all that stuff. But I got questions, man. I got fucking questions. CQ's like, Jesus Christ, is this over yet?
Boy, are you going to love my news segment.
Yeah, we're pulling out. Fuck you, man. We're pulling out some new special things for you today.
Oh, that sounds kinky. All right.
I did find the wiki how I wanted to.
Did you?
Yeah, to educate you guys about.
Okay. Well, maybe next week.
No, God damn it. That's how I will force that. I'll spit on it and force it.
Yeah. That's fine. So
did I tell you guys why I went with beer this time?
No,
because you got too drunk and said some shit you shouldn't have last time.
Ding ding ding. I have a habit that like if I'm talking a lot and we're having an animated conversation, every time I'm quiet, I'll drink. Right. And it's just a natural, like, okay, wet the whistle kind of thing. And boy, howdy, I finished like half a bottle of Jack the last time we were talking. And by the end of it, man, I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. I was halfway in the bag, man. And I was like, you know what? Maybe as I'm building up a reputation, now's not the time to burn it all down. If
you're building up a reputation, this is not the show for you to come on, my friend.
Hey, you know what they say? If you get big, you got to do charity once in a while. You throw people a bone. Well, this is my community service.
He just wants to be the bad boy of pop culture.
Yeah, right on.
It's funny. I tuned into part of one of his episodes. Just they were talking about Attack of the Show on G4. I chimed in for a couple things there. But that's the only time that I've really watched any of CQ shit. But I will say,
you don't support friends of the show.
No, we announced them on our show.
Yeah,
and that's my support.
Yeah, I got you.
Shit. However, if he ever gets Tom Selleck on his goddamn on his show, I will become a regular listener. But it takes Tom Selleck in at least saying B3F in some fashion. He doesn't have to see a fan to be on it. You can be like, if you heard of B3F, and he can go, what's B3F? And be like, oh, don't worry about it. But if that happens, I will subscribe. I'll even support a Patreon if he gets one.
There you go.
I'll financially support him.
What if I could get him to could I get him to say B3 and F in separate segments and we just clip it all together? Does that work?
I'm going to clip it one way or the other. It's just going to be my voice going, I really like, and then him going B3F.
Yep, exactly.
It's like I got one thing that I want. And we've talked about with a few different guests, but I want to get somebody that's never even listened to the podcast, that really doesn't give a shit about it, that we would love somebody super obscure, not even obscure, but somebody you wouldn't think would do an interview, just say, hey, this is so-and-so, and you're listening
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis, fucking Rick Astley, Tom Selleck. It did, like I said, they never have to listen. Pauly Shore. It could just be like, hey, this is Pauly Shore.
Dude, there's a way to do that. It's fucking called Cameo. Go on Cameo.
Do you know how much it costs? I've looked into it to have somebody do a promo bumper.
Some of them are pretty expensive.
I don't know.
No. If it's a person, because there's a whole separate section. If you do just like a, hey, Joey, go fuck yourself, $99, $100, depending on 200 depending on the celebrity. But if you want it to promote a business, it like triples.
Okay.
Like I think Pauly Shore had one. He was doing it was Gilbert Godfrey was doing a
Affleck.
Yeah, Affleck. No, he was doing the Cameo thing, and I think he was running things like $60 or $90, something like that. And I looked into it, and to do a promo one for him was $800.
Okay, like, I got your way around this. You ready for this? I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you. You send a request for your buddy to say, hey man, he's doing this podcast. Can you just tell him congratulations on the podcast, it's doing so well, we're 6 years in, whatever, blah blah blah. That's a personal request where he shouts out the podcast.
I thought about that, but I really want the "This is so and so and you're listening to B3F." That's what I want. I'm picky like that.
You can clip the audio, man.
What's that?
You got to clip the audio. You take the request and then you just clip it together.
You want that, and you've said 100 times, we got to get our guest to say this is so, and you've not once asked.
I always forget, but B, I don't necessarily want it to be a guest. I want it to be some obscure, like somebody that wasn't a name, like yeah.
All right, so this is CQ, and you're listening to B3. Sorry, I couldn't even say it without laughing. You want it obscure. That's as obscure as you're going to get.
I want somebody that I admire.
All right. Well, it's been not good night, guys. See you. It's been a good one. I'm out.
Talking shit. I say one thing.
I know.
I come swinging, baby. Let's go.
Get one of your white friends to come here. I'm done with you.
Just let them all come in.
They come to give makeup tips or something, because since you said that's all women do.
Well, hey man, I don't get to be feisty. I don't get to be feisty on my show. I've got to be like the cool, chill, like, hey guys, welcome to the show. But we're going to talk about this. I don't get to be feisty. I don't get to be my normal veteran, hard ass, busting balls kind of self. So
how many episodes do you think it's going to take you to be the cool guy on the
show? Well, let's see. We're 54 episodes in. I'm somewhere in the 500s. I feel like that's
you're veteran compared to him.
I just realized that I'm double committed. I just realized this because I told him last time. I just told him Tom Selleck today, but I told him last time if you got Olivia Munn on, I'd be a lifetime watcher.
Yeah.
God damn it! I'm now indebted to you twice because Olivia.
Can I be 100% honest? I'm gonna be 100% honest. I've tried to get both. Shot down both times. Shot down hard. Wow. You want to hear is the industry standard for go fuck yourself? Ready? Thank you for your interest. At this time, we are going to politely decline your invitation to be on your show. Best wishes. That is the industry standard for go fuck yourself. There's no way my talent's getting on your shit.
Did you reply? But we'll have a big whipped cream pool and a maid's outfit. It'll be just a cool time.
Yeah, no, that didn't work. That didn't work.
What if I can get Chris Hardwick with us?
Yeah, listen. So no bullshit. I've established a rule in my own head that when I get those responses, hey, I respond back, politely. Hey, understood. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for at least responding. Cool. That way we get, some sort of respect. But I take that email and I put it in a little folder that says, never, ever, ever, ever have this guest on. And it basically, when in my mind, because at some point in the distant future, I'm going to hit that Joe Rogan status, whatever. But when I get there and I have these people banging on my door, I'm gonna look. I was like, oh, is Olivia Munn? Okay, let me just say real quick. Nope, we're gonna politely decline to have her on the show. Thank you very much. Maybe another time. But yeah, I do
the same, not with the folder, but if somebody actually takes the time to reply back, rejection. I'll be like, well, thanks for getting back to me anyway. And
like the county mayor,
like the county. Did we tell you about that last time he was on?
I don't think
I asked our county mayor to come on. He was
so our county mayor was Kane in the WWE.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And this is when we first started out.
Glenn Jacobs, that's his name.
I was like, oh, I want to get him on. That'd be fucking cool. Yeah. Now, granted, the initial email that I sent, while well thought out, had some typos because I was intoxicated while I wrote it. But they weren't the kind of typos that you wouldn't see from the average person writing an email. Like, they weren't any more stupid than the most emails that I've gotten from other professional people. Anyway, I got an email back the next day, and I didn't pitch dates. I didn't pitch anything. I just say we have this Nashville-based podcast or Knoxville-based podcast, and we'd love to have them on, blah, 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 blah. And they said, well, unfortunately, we don't have any of those dates open at this point in time. And I was like, what?
Any of the dates you can think of, they're busy.
Yeah.
Any of them.
That's what they said. Well, we're very busy, and none of those dates would work out for us. And I was like, you fucking assholes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I said, fuck it. I mean, why, if we're going to be in this game, and we're saying, I'm just gonna reach out to everybody. I'm gonna every time, like, I Google and search and like, who's the agent for this guy and who's the talent agent for that, whatever. I've reached out to Denzel Washington, which was the politest "go fuck yourself" I've ever received. It was just this beautifully worded email, like, that basically boiled down to, like, why the fuck would you ever think you're gonna have a shot at this? Like, it seemed like they were confused why I was even reaching out. Like, I think it's industry knowledge. Denzel doesn't do interviews. Like, he just doesn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they were just like, no. Like,
and how much better would that be if you got that interview? Because that's
you
never know until you.
Oh my God. That's exactly it. Because one day I'm gonna get that. Yes, that's gonna be a game changer. I'm
Nelson Mandela at least once a week.
I don't think you're getting that mail.
I'm shocked. Anytime I get a response that's even a maybe, I'm fucking blown away. My wife would tell you, like, I'm like, oh my God, fucking Gina Gershon, who hasn't been popular since the 80s. They said maybe check back in the fall. Woo! Like,
dude,
it's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then that's good. I do very similar then, and I've been lax on it lately. But I'll just look shit up, and I'll just start sending emails. And if I can't find an email, if it looks like they're usually very engaging on their social media, I'll shoot a message there. And I always, like, in those messages, like, hey, I apologize for not going through a more professional channel. I couldn't find one. Blah blah blah, and that's gotten me more response than anything. It's like, well, can't do it, but I appreciate you reaching out, type of shit. But yeah, absolutely.
If their information is not easily available, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I've it's been hit or miss for me on social media, only because I've two kind of encounters with that, where if you get a yes, so, like, let's name names here. I got Sean Patrick Flannery, so that's half of the Boondock Saints, right? The not Norman Reedus half of the less well known half of the Boondock Saints,
which in the movie was the better half. In real life, the far less successful half.
Far less successful. So I hit him up on Twitter. I'm like, yo, bro, because I used to go to conventions a lot years ago, and I hit up no bullshit. I was at a convention and I was doing a Boondock Saints panel. This is before Walking Dead came out. So Norman Reedus was still practically unheard of. He was the guy that did the thing in Blade, and Boondock Saints was his big thing. And so they were doing a panel in a small room of like 50 people. And I remember right before they came out, I said, I'm a huge fan. I was talking to one of the security people, and I'm like, oh, I'm a huge fan. Like, on military combat tours, like, I had like a DVD of Family Guy and a DVD of Boondock Saints. That was like my thing. That I was just like, oh, this is my home away from home. And I said, look, I got this patch. I just wanted to give it to the guys, maybe a hat, whatever it was. And the guy was like, all right, cool. And he went off, and I sat. We were doing the show, or doing the panel. And at the end of the panel, the person that was talking was like, oh, by the way, we have somebody here that wants to present something to you guys. And we're all like, who could that be? Like, what? And they're like, you. And I was like right in the front. They're like, you come here. And they pulled me on stage and had me up at the microphone with these guys, and I was just like, I don't like. I'm supposed to present them an award, and I was like, I did like a patch, and I love you guys. You guys are cool, and they were super nice. I got pictures with the guys, and they were very nice and down to earth. So now years later, I'm like, oh, I got this podcast, and we had this connection. So I tweeted at them. I'm like, hey, and it was a picture of me on stage with them. I said, hey man, years ago you had me on stage. You guys were so cool. I know Norman Reedus. There's no way you're getting a hold of him. But I'm like, hey, so Sean Patrick Flannery, man, like, hey, do my show, whatever. And he responded, and he's like, publicly, and he's like, I got you. No, this would be awesome. Let's do it. Hit me up in the DMs. And I was like, oh my God, this is fucking awesome. Hit him up and ghosted. Just go like, responded like once or twice, and then was like nothing. And I'm like, hey, still here. Would love to get you on sometime. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I think eventually he blocked me. Me on social media. And I was like, that's pretty fucked up to publicly say, yes, man, this would be such an honor to do this thing. And I think he even went back and deleted the tweet too. which is the funny thing.
That sounds like a publicist or handler. Somebody's like, "What the fuck are you doing? You
Yep.
can't do this shit."
Yep, exactly. And then I've had the other
folder of people that can never be on the show now.
Fuck yes, man. You're not gonna take credit for doing something. Like, it felt like he was getting credit in the face value credit without having to do any of the work behind it.
I will straight on under our account start tweeting at him to come on fucking Pop Culture Warrior on a regular basis.
Hey, you owe him. You owe him a fucking interview. How dare you?
How dare you fucking dishonor a veteran?
Yeah, he reneged, man. He reneged the offer. What, or at least come to me and say, "Look, man, sorry, I was fucking wasted. I don't know what I was saying. I can't do it." All right, whatever, cool. But on the other hand, then I had the director of the Outpost on, which I actually reached out to him on social media, and he was super cool. He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then just yesterday, so the Outpost is based on the true events, but it's based on the book of the true events called The Outpost.
Right.
And the writer of that book, who I follow on social media because he's a big deal, he's wrote a bunch of books. He was posting something, and I just, out of the blue, I was like, "Hey, man," I hit him right up on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, we had the director of the movie on. Why haven't we had you on, man? You should come on." And like an hour later, bing, he's just like, "Yeah, man, let's do it. Here's my person's contact. Hit him up. We'll set it up."
Oh yeah.
All right, shit, let's go. So you have that, like, those are very few and far between of the,
for sure.
30,000 tweets I've sent out trying to get people. I've had like 2 or 3 respond. So it is what it is.
Willis. I shot him a message on Instagram, and he just messaged me back because the next day it popped up. And he was like, he just said, "Why the fuck not? Let's do it." Like that was the reply, and it just kind of worked out.
Those are the best, man. Those are the best.
Yeah, and it was weird for me with that because, again, I mean, he's been in a few movies and shit, but definitely not the A-list point. But at one point, he just sent me his number and was like, "Hey, just give me a call at this point. Let's talk about the show firsthand." And I just messaged him. I was like, "I promise I won't send you any dick pics, whatever." And because he's a vet, I figured he'd appreciate that. And he was like, "Yeah, you just try it, and I'll make an OnlyFans, motherfucker." And I was like, "Okay, we're good." So
fit right in. Yeah, that one's. It's surprising. Honestly, like, I don't know if I should say, again, I've been drinking. I don't know if I should say these things publicly, but it's surprising that once you get through the layers of publicist, manager, once you get to the person, they're usually so just like whatever. Because I was like, "Hey, man, we're live, we're on the thing. If we get disconnected or something, do you have like a number or a handler that I can reach out to, whatever?" And, "Oh, here's my cell phone." Like 9 times out of 10, "Here's my cell phone. Just text me." And I'm like, "What the fuck? You giving me your cell phone? What's wrong with you? Like, do you not know who I am? Because that's not a good idea."
I feel the same way. I mean, like, so now I got these couple of these numbers in my phone. I'm like, I'll never use them. I'll never call because I'm pretty. What's the
you said you don't want to be that guy that bothers them.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pretty. Oh God, I can't even think of the word. Principled with very few things, but that's one of them. Like, I'm not going to abuse some shit that's been given to me. So it's like, but I just like knowing that I have that in my phone. It's as petty and as stupid that is. Like, I know that if I wanted to give these guys a shout, I fucking could. They'd hit ignore. Yeah. They didn't block me. They do whatever. But if I wanted to, I fucking got it. And that's just it's a cool thing to me. I do need to start fucking playing the veteran card more. God damn it.
You got to, man.
I don't have the Purple Heart to hang my hat on, but and then as long as but then I'll have to be like, "Oh, I was in the Coast Guard." They'll be like, "The National Guard?" I'm like, "Yeah, fucking close enough, man."
Close enough. It's one of the 6. I mean, it's close enough.
Oh yeah, you actually went for the 6, man. You're included in the Space Force.
I literally, no bullshit, I got a coin yesterday. Somebody gave me a challenge coin. People randomly give me shit, but they gave me a challenge coin, and for the first time ever, I turned it over, and it had all 6 logos, and I was just like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right, it's a real thing." I forgot about that. So that's why I just.
And it's funny to even hear that because looking at different things, 9 out of 10 times you'll see the main 4 branches. You rarely see the Coast Guard added on to anything, military featured, because it's the bastard child anyway. Nobody thinks of it. And now it's funny because you're going to see Space Force popping up on that, and they're still going to the fucking Coast Guard office in that show in Space Force. You guys are still the blown of Salvation Army. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But no, it was actually cool getting that, and it's weird. It's more balanced now because I have so many challenge coins that have like the 5 logos, and it's always the Pentagon shape, and so now with the 6, it just looks nicer. It looks much more balanced. That's my OCD kicking in.
Yeah. I don't think I have. I lost most of my challenge coins. I have like 2 somewhere. I don't know. You can't spend them in fucking video games and fucking claw machines. So I just fucking tossed them somewhere.
They should be able to be used between
some
military,
currency.
Only between military and veterans, kind of like in John Wick with the
yes, it's the coin from John Wick.
You need a veteran to do something for you, or anyone in the military, you have to give them a coin.
Yeah,
or maybe if it's kill somebody, 2 coins.
It kind of works that way.
Well, there you go.
At least with alcohol.
Don't tell him that. Jesus, it's insider shit. He's giving away all our secrets.
Yeah. If you let the Coast Guard in on the insider secrets, I think I'm okay.
Yeah. They're the outside of the inside secrets.
It was in the 2000s. The Coast Guard got its right to spend entirely taken away from them by Congress without getting full congressional approval for any large purchases. Because they have these.
What'd you do?
What I do? No, they had the new cutters, the new boats they were wanting to get.
Yeah.
Unlike every other branch of the military, that when they want, say, a new plane from Boeing or whatever, they require a proof of concept, right? This okay, we're going to give you this much, you make it, and then as soon as we sign off on it, we're good. Then we'll give you the rest of the funds. The Coast Guard was like, nah. We like that. Here's a fucking check. And then, a year later, we're like, oh no, it's going to be another fucking $1 billion more. They're like,
right.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Here's another fucking check. And this happened like 3 or 4 times. It was so under budget. Congress is like, nah, fuck you guys. You're not blowing any more money until you have this.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest shit. But yeah.
They got all that drug money.
Army in one of their last big inventories lost like fucking 23 buildings in their fucking audit.
So, that doesn't surprise me.
Right.
I mean,
they're probably storing poppy.
Well, because the military is not exactly known for their fiscal responsibility,
or their honesty when it comes to properties and things. Yeah. So, oh well. Whatever.
Which is funny because legitimately, and we could talk about this shit all day, and I don't want to, but like you have people in certain environments, war zones. You've been there where they're fucking under. You got certain areas that are well under fucking armored, under weaponized. I mean, they don't have a good hunk of the shit they need. But then you have other areas that just fucking pouring money into. And it's a weird priority thing based on the chess moves that are going on from upstairs. But because when it goes down to it, and again, I'm not going to talk shit about like vets and stuff like that for sure, but or the military, but there comes a point that when you're in that you realize the priority of the actual individual people within a group versus the overall wants or desires for the people that are higher up moving it around. There's not nearly as much value placed on human life as you would like to think there is.
Yeah. It's all assets. It's all, it's a chessboard.
And it's got to be that way to one degree or another, but there are times that some of those decisions can be questionable because they're not necessarily based on this is what's actually best versus this is going to get us what we want in this area that has nothing to do with this if I make this move here. It's like playing chess on 4 different boards, with the same pieces. But anyway. Like I said, don't want to delve into that, fucking too much. It's just,
so how do you think about Iran and Syria and all? Let's dive into it, man. Let's really get into this.
How much time do you have to talk about opium?
Everybody, as the resident pop culture guy, I'm really interested in, this thing with Palestine is getting out of control. Let's break it down. Let's figure this out. Just us.
So I did have a question.
I will fucking fight you, CQ.
So I did have a question for CQ.
All right.
What was that like, and how intense was that?
We've talked about this.
You don't know what I'm talking.
I don't even know the fuck he's asking yet.
Okay, hold on just a second. Wait, no. Write down what I'm fixing to ask.
Nope.
How was it, and what was it like on January 6th up at the Capitol building? That had to have been intense.
I mean, I wasn't there.
Okay.
I don't know if you
assumed you were up there with all the other guys that were up there claiming veteran status and things.
I mean, I was nearby, but I wouldn't say I was participant. I held, people's bags. Like they were.
Oh, okay.
They seemed like they needed their hands, so I just kind of held the bags.
So wipe the tear gas out of their eyes.
Like the guy that stands and does the water at the marathon. Like I was just there for support. No, I mean, shit. It's only a couple miles from me, honestly. I mean, I live in Maryland, and I can get down there.
You basically turned your house into an Airbnb for those guys.
we it was like the Underground Railroad, but for guys that stormed the Capitol.
Here, I'll waive the cleaning fee.
It was, it's like a halfway house. It's fine. It's fine.
Is that the question you thought I was going to ask?
Yes.
That is not what you thought I was going to ask. I know it wasn't.
I know.
You know me.
I know how much interrupting like that would irritate the shit out of you.
No, the interrupting didn't irritate me at all.
Okay.
It's the fact that you thought you knew and I knew you didn't know.
Okay.
So
I didn't know where he was going with it.
Yeah.
And I know everything.
Zeke, you even took your side. He was like, you didn't even let him finish.
Right. Yeah.
Hey.
I think everybody sees this.
Yeah, they probably do.
Yeah.
By the way, we got to do like a t-shirt swap. We got to do like the thing the football players do at the end of the game, right? Where they swap jerseys. Shower naked. That's what I was saying. We've got to shower naked together. Is that not
T-shirts.
what we? Okay. T-shirts. Yeah, no t-shirts. Yeah. But man, y'all send me a t-shirt, man. I'm gonna send you guys. I'm gonna rock the B3F, man. What's up?
Yeah.
All right.
Looks good.
Down for that.
Just since Steven's not on Facebook, you can shoot me a Facebook message or whatever. I'll give you my phone number, and then we can get the address thing, and I'll get you one on order.
Yeah.
So
same.
Anyway,
yeah.
I had something else I was going
to. I
say.
totally derailed this. No.
I was actually going to say so Trevor's comment. I don't know about you, but I do this every time I see that, and as soon as that popped up there, I immediately read that as sloth. I immediately read Trevor's comment as sloth. Yeah, from Goonies.
Oh, hey, you guys.
I don't know why. It's not Trevor whatsoever, but I immediately read that as that.
I just thought it was nice he said hello instead of, you guys sound like shit.
I know.
Which is what we get a lot of times.
Ain't no audio, man. Hey, you got a buzz.
Always criticizing.
Oh, yeah. Well, he fussed at me the other day because we take the live stream down as soon as the show's over. Yeah. And it comes back out Wednesday.
It's our punishment for the fuckers that don't watch us.
Right. She's like, I try to watch every time, but then I won't go back in and watch it on Monday. Like, yeah, gotta wait till Wednesday.
Yeah.
He's like, give the people what they want. Like, no. No. You have to hold the people accountable.
Right. Fuck the people. That's what I always say.
We didn't get here surrounded by friends.
You think we do this for the people? No, we do this for us so we can shit talk people.
An excuse to drink beer and talk shit. That's what I say.
Yeah. So
I will say though, and we can tell, but we're planning it. We haven't quite gotten it all worked out yet, but hopefully in the next few weeks, we might be doing
well, it's not going to happen in a 3-continent thing. I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought you were talking about something else.
No, a triple continent joint podcast for a guy in Australia, us, and some dudes in England, all in one joint episode. So that'll be interesting
live at the same time.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a shit show.
So
because you guys are gonna be in all different time zones, and like somebody's gonna be early in the morning, somebody's gonna be late at night. Somebody's gonna be
us. Like we're being the gentlemanly Americans, and we're going to I volunteered us to we were recorded 8 a.m. here because that would be like 1 p.m. for England and then 10 p.m. for Australia.
Oh,
so
not bad.
So we'll do it.
How dare you? Let me ask you, when did you stop loving America?
When did we stop loving America?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna kowtow to the
one thing or one time, but
I mean, when did you become communist?
Canada.
When did you guys become Canada or communist? Because if you're just letting the other nations decide what time we're gonna be on.
I'm around November 2016, I think, something like that. No, we had the two guys from England on, and they were great. Like, they were great to talk to. I mean, because they would give shit back to us.
Oh, I saw that one. That was a good one. That was a real good one.
And so they had done an episode with the guy from Australia, and they hit us up the next morning. Actually, not the next morning. It was like within an hour after the show ended. Mm-hmm. That was like, the guys had a great time. Their producer, or whatever, hit us up. Like, guys had a great time. Would you be interested in doing this? It's like, hell yeah, I would be interested in doing this.
Can I ask you, do you think, or here's the question. Are you sure you are the right people to represent America in this multi-continental?
I would ask you, are you sure that we're not?
I mean, fair enough. I saw the episode.
This time I politely declined to answer your question.
No, let me say it this way. We're white. We're from the South. And if we need to, we can talk with the draw, which we're from God's country. So I think it makes a perfect representation.
Yeah, that is you know what?
Kiwis, how's it going?
Oh my God.
At one point, you said one of them was from Australia, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah. One guy from Australia, too.
So you got to do that very American thing to be like, so do your toilets really flush the other way around? You got to ask that question.
Well, if he's from Australia, I'm calling him a Kiwi a good bit for the insult factor of that. I am going to initially talk about the juxtaposition guys and say they're from Scotland.
Yeah, one of them is. Well, not from, but lives there.
Yeah. Or Irish. That would be even better.
So it'll be 3 continents, 4 countries.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, one of them from Scotland.
Yeah. You got to ask about the didgeridoo. Ask them if they're gonna play it, and if a dingo ate their baby.
Right, all the stereotypical.
All of them. Yeah. To ask them if they love Crocodile Dundee.
Right, which is the most accurate. It's essentially a documentary of Australian culture.
Exactly. I think it's based off Steve Irwin. I'm pretty sure that was based off him years before it was a thing.
It was a huge influence.
So just as we're talking about it, Josh, the Australian guy just hit me up with a message like I'm good, like confirmed the dates. Okay. So he's good for that. So
I thought he was saying he's watching and he doesn't appreciate this.
No, well, here's the thing. Like I just shot him a message back. It's like, yeah, we're actually live right now talking to our guest about this event.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if you're watching.
But we do have one thing in common with him. One of his guests is someone that was one of our guests, and it was David Weiss, Flat Earth guy. So. So yeah, that was fun.
I still want to, and I don't think we kept his contact, but the dude that was from the largest biblical flat Earth research institute in the U.S. Yeah, I wanted to have him on.
Coincidentally, Flat Earth Research Institute is just slang for Facebook group.
Yes,
but
it's the largest one in the world,
evidently,
and he can provide lots of biblical evidence for the flat Earth, and I would love to have that conversation. Yeah. I'll actually fucking knock all the dust off my Bible.
Oh yeah,
and bring that shit out. Oh yeah,
you bring out your homiletics and your
and my vines,
whatever the other one, nudix,
yep,
whatever it is.
Yep.
Oh God,
dust off the dust and Jew blood.
Get out your crusade sword.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I don't know that he'll be present for that one.
No, he would not be present for that one. Oh man, I was listening to something on the Crusades the other day, and I was still just like, how the fuck can, like, I don't know. Yeah, just gonna leave it. I'm gonna walk away. Other topics. Yeah.
What was the problem with it?
What's that?
What was the problem with it?
No, it was a factual breakdown and analysis of the Crusades.
Factual?
No, it was factual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was a historical analysis of the Crusades.
They were just bringing souls to the kingdom.
It was a secular program that was going over an analysis of the Crusades. And what I'm saying, it never fails to piss me off how that shit went down and the reasons it was done.
Okay.
It upsets me. That's all. Upset's the wrong word.
Souls for the kingdom, man.
Souls for the kingdom. Let's indiscriminately burn all these Muslims and Jews, because after they're dead, then we can pray for them and they'll go to heaven. It's a great idea.
Okay, well, I heard somebody pitch it to me as they prayed with them before they killed them and got them to accept and then killed them. Yeah.
Oh no, because Catholicism, you can pray for somebody's soul after they've deceased, after they're dead, and they can whatever.
Now you know why I want to convert to Catholicism.
Anyway, I like CQ's eyes at this point. Just like,
he's not saying anything.
I was glossed over.
You're not even drinking Jack.
This time it's not the drink; it's the conversation.
This time it's the conversation. Okay.
No, yeah. So
How do you feel
video
about the
games. And, what was that last one?
I said, so how do you feel about the Crusades?
I think Assassin's Creed's a great game. I think it's very
It is a good
relevant,
game.
and
We got some great Sunday school songs out of it.
Oh yeah.
I think I learned a lot.
I'm surprised that there's not a Christian version of the Avengers called the Crusaders.
Oh, if there's not, there will be.
That's $1 million idea.
No, but I'm just saying,
that's a multi-million.
It'll happen, idea. But it'll be like 20 years from now when nobody gives a shit about the Avengers anymore.
Sure.
Then it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure in one of those mega churches, I'm sure there's a gift shop somewhere with a coloring book of the Crusaders. I guarantee you.
There was a Sunday school or vacation Bible school program called like the Crusaders back in the day, but
yeah. So question, it's about the time we take a break. Do you have time to hang out for more, or do you have to go and placate the
makeup?
Yeah. I mean, no one's banging on my door yet, so I think I'm good.
Okay, because I want to take 5 or 10 because I actually had a question. Well, let me ask you this before we go and break down.
Sure.
So how familiar are you with you being the pop culture guy, and we're from similar time periods growing up, with any of the Christian pop culture shit that happened back in the day at all? Any experience with, seen any of it?
I mean, in what way are you referring to?
The shit that was super popular, like within some of the church, like throughout the same time that
Veggie Tales,
like we had Veggie Tales.
Oh yeah.
And then
Gospel Bill.
Was it Mac and Me? Was that the?
I don't remember.
Or was that Mac movie?
Mac and Me, I think, was a movie.
There was a movie, Mac and Me. What was the fucking McGee and Me or some shit like that? It's a little alien fucker that was not the movie with the kid down the wheelchair. They were going down the stairs, which was great. Was it Salty when we were kids? Salty the Songbook.
Oh yeah, I remember Salty
the creepy ass rapey looking fucking blue book guy.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, and there's Bible Man.
Bible Man.
One. Yeah. There's a Noah's Ark NES game. There's a couple Nintendo games that came out back in the day that were.
There was a Noah's Ark game, I think, on the Commodore 64, maybe.
It was NES.
Yeah, I'm just specifically remember the graphics that
specifically remember it.
Yes, that went with the Commodore 64.
I don't think so.
Maybe I may be wrong, but I feel like I remember a Noah's Ark like floppy disk.
Ooh, maybe. I don't think so, though.
Oh well.
Come on, CQ. You're the pop culture guy, man.
I mean, we are on the fringes of pop culture at that one. But no, I do remember Veggie Tales. I do remember some very questionable games, but there was also a kind of like a small culture of people that created their own NES games. There was actually like a dev system you could buy back in the day and create your own NES game. So things like that were very prevalent around that time. They weren't mass produced, but they were there.
Essentially, that community is kind of what birthed the Game Genie. Basically, like old school, like a handful
Pretty
of
much.
Really wasn't that hard to hack games back then, but yeah.
All 8 bits of them.
Yep. The coolest shit ever. I remember, dude, I came in my pants when the fucking Game Genie came out, and that shit that stuck out of the console this far. Oh man. And you had that thick ass book of like these random shits. You just have to
all the codes,
plug them in and see what the fuck they did, because they never had normal names like Unlimited Lives. It was always like lives a lot, no die. It would be shit like
no, well, it was like it'd be like 32 random letters. It'd be like X, Y, ZBD, A, 12, 9, and you're just like, okay, I think I got it right, and then it's like incorrect. You're like, God damn it, I got like 32 numbers back in, to get it right. Yeah, that was good times.
And then the Super NES Game Genie simplified it a little bit. You didn't have nearly the first one, man, it was so fucking cool to like be able to just destroy Ninja Gaiden and shit. But it was such a pain in the dick to put those codes in. And like I said, none of them, and I don't know if they, like you said, Japanese translations, whatever, but the descriptors never made any sense. It'd be like super high long jump. And it wouldn't be a super high long jump. It would be like run really fast. So you just had to go through them, and you had to try them out and figure out what was
it swapped your buttons. So you press run, and he jumped, and you're like, all right, cool.
Random shit, like okay. And there was anyway. So what? And I don't think I asked you this last time. As far as your pop culture experience, because you're well versed in the world of pop culture. At least you fake it really well for your podcast. So what would you consider to be your specialty in the pop culture world?
Man, specialty shit.
Or
Marvel.
What gets you off the most?
I said no, Marvel. I mean, both comic book, video game, movies. Like obviously, you can see in the background, I have a lot of Marvel shit. But really, what kicked off my love of kind of pop culture and sci-fi and things like that, Back to the Future, which you see as a flux capacitor right about there, which is signed by the Doc himself, Christopher Lloyd, signed the bottom of it. But yeah, so that was like I remember being a kid and watching Back to the Future and watching the time travel epic and cars fly and the hoverboard and that the back of my head just exploded and I was hooked. But one of my earliest memories, no bullshit, was my dad used to, as a side hustle, sell comic books. He would buy bundles from like the big distributors and sell it on the street. In the 80s, you could do shit like that. But I'd be in the back of his van bagging and boarding comic books. So like literally, because you go to the comic book shop, that's how it was. They'd be in bags and boards. That's how you buy your comics. So I'd be in the back of his van, like breaking open boxes of these comic books and putting them in the bags and the boards. I must have been like, I don't know, 5 or 6. It's one of my earliest memories. So since then I've been crazy about comic books. I mean, I've got the ink to prove it. But
it's funny. One of my earliest memories is from the back of a van too, but much different circumstances.
There were boards and there were plastic, but very different circumstances.
Right.
They probably gave you a comic book,
and then there was a limp for days after.
and
everyone telling me, I don't believe you.
Hey, Talon Burkemper, your dick is squirting the wrong direction there, buddy.
No, that's somebody else coming on Talon's dick.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Makes sense.
I don't know who the fuck that is, but anyway. Let's take a quick break because I really, really want a cigarette. If you're good to hang out with us for a minute, then
we'll be back in about 10.
Yeah,
sure.
Somewhere.
Let's do it.
There. So you got time to piss out all that beer, buddy.
I'm on it.
All right. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
We worship you. Oh, we worship you. Stop the effeminate queer singing.
What was that?
That is a new segment that I'm going to call Here's Why You're Going to Hell. Here it is. One more time.
We worship you. Oh, we worship you. Stop the effeminate queer singing.
What the fuck is that from?
It's a preacher.
Well, I got that it was
from the pulpit.
Yeah, I got that.
I have found an unending fountain of preachers saying insane shit.
What is this from?
I just found TikTok.
Just some guy.
I found a guy on TikTok that agrees with all these preachers and just posts these short clips. And I have already downloaded several.
That's amazing.
I have a custom version of I Saw the Light that I'll play for you at some point. But that's I wanted to see how well it went tonight before I created bumper music for it. But I love this new account.
Oh my God.
So
I do feel like though that this is something that you and I will appreciate more than most.
Maybe
just with the background.
Gabe's here, he'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of them I may get on so they can actually show the people what they look like, how they're acting, but still. So stop the effeminate queer singing.
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard some crazy shit from the pulpit, but I mean,
oh yeah.
There is this radio show in Pensacola, Florida, when I was down there, and it was from some primitive Baptist church in the area. And this dude, I love to listen to him because he would scream like a woman, like he would get going, and not woman in the sense of like in a derogatory, in the sense of the pitch and the timbre of the scream was amazing.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "You're not going to hell," and get way the fuck up.
Sure.
There. But my favorite thing he ever said, because they're very strict King James only Bible version. He's like, New International Version. Let me tell you about that New International Version. Bunch of pot-bellied lesbians wrote your Bible, all kissing and rubbing on each other under pews and stuff. It's like, that ain't no Bible. God don't care about no lesbian Bible. And I was like, what the fuck?
I've got a great one for you that's just, I want as a
like
drop.
CQ is like, why am I here now?
No, I want this as a drop. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
It's good to be under the spout where the glory comes out.
Oh man.
So yeah, we'll hear that again at some point.
Yeah. I want to okay, I'd like to make a bunch of bumpers and shit that's just clips of, because a lot of the things that are said in church, especially in Pentecostal charismatic churches, are very homoerotic.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, unintentionally so, but just let them come in you. Just let them come in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you grow up religious, CQ?
We talk
not necessarily. So I grew up in New York City, but I grew up in New York Christian, and we went to all like the Saturday sermons and stuff like that, and they weren't mega churches but I kind of feel like they were like the New York City ghetto version of mega churches. And I very early on grew a questioning of a lot of things, obviously.
Thinking mind.
Yeah, I kind of, it's like a lot of things don't add up here. Something's not right. I read too much Hardy Boys. I'm like, something's not right here. And so questioned a lot of things, and honestly, I mean, again, I don't mean to offend anybody. I don't, but I've come to know, and this is when I offend some people, that church people are the worst people on the planet. They just, and not everybody, obviously, but for the most part, the hardest Bible thumping people are just the worst type of people in my crossings of people. The people that are, oh my God, I had one person that, I said, oh man, I forget exactly what I said, but I mean, they lost their shit on me about how, oh, you're going to go to hell. You don't go to church. And I'm like, well, you don't go to church. I knew this person. I'm like, you don't go to church. So, because, and I'm not going to say who it was, but it was this person who was hiding the fact that they were bald. And, and they're like, well, that if I have to go, I have to put on my thing and it's a lot of work and everything. I'm like, isn't that like one of the sins is like vanity or something about that? Right. And I'm like, isn't that some, like, are you being a bit hypocritical in that you're judging me for not going because you're so vain about your looks that you won't go? And it's just shit like that.
For Catholics, brother.
Yeah, it's so bad.
God's watching when you masturbate. Pretty sure he knows you're bald.
Yeah. But that's not the point. It's about the other people in the church. And that's the crazy part is. So I'm like, so how judgy the other people are there, that you don't want to be there to be judged by the other people. I'm like, this is what happened to love thy brother? Like I'm the kind of person that, like, I read, English translations of like the Quran. I've read the Bible. Like I'm curious. I'm fascinated. I've heard the stories. I've looked, like you. I've read up on the Crusades. I don't. My own personal thing's my own personal thing. I don't like to put it out there. But
I watched the movie.
Yeah, I watched movies. I watched Passion of the Christ. I get it. Right, sure. No, but like I've read the scriptures. I understand the stories and the parables and things like that. I understand the point of what they are. Me and my wife, one of our biggest arguments, she grew up super, super Catholic. And, one day I forget, we were talking about something about Christmas, and she goes, that's Jesus's birthday. And I was like, that's when we celebrate his birth, but that's not his birthday. And she's like, what? Right. She's like, you're so anti-religion. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to be anti. I'm just pointing a fact that the whole thing of Christmas was based off the winter solstice. And like, I went through this whole thing, and it's pagan ritual and blah, 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 the tree, blah, blah, blah. I said, they don't know when he was born exactly. They chose to use this holiday as a time to celebrate. Like, there's a whole, and I'm just like, this is fact. This is things that out there. I'm not being a heathen. And she lost
buddy.
She lost her shit on me so hardcore. And she's like, you're just so anti-Christian and so anti-Jesus. And
so what you do is you say, all right, you know how we celebrated our son's birthday on Saturday. That wasn't actually his birthday. His birthday was Monday.
Way to tie it all together. Kudos. Well done. That is some excellent interviewing right there. That way to tie it together. No, yeah, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, and if you believe in the thing, fucking kudos to you. God bless. More power to you. Like, I wish I had it in me to say, hey, I believe in a higher power that is watching over me and is destined all these things for me. And no matter, I have no free will. Like, I just let things happen. Like, I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me. You know, like I'm good. I take control. I own up to the good. Like, I try to be a good person, not because there's some eternal punishment or eternal reward at the end of it. Like, I just want to be a good person to be a good person. I want to leave the world better than what I left it, or leave the world better than I found it. Be an example for my son, and do good, because the one thing I do, again, peeling back the curtains, I do believe in kind of like, not karma. It sounds very corny, but energy is, there's a balance in the world. Oh my God, I'm going to get so deep on this shit now, but like fire, water, balance, right? Like there's this, you know, I don't know, earth, air, like there's just this planet. Yeah, in all my life, like I've noticed energy is a real thing. It like, you know, if you tend to be a positive person, like just it attracts kind of positivity. And if you tend, all my friends that are super pessimistic and super negative, just bad shit always happens to them. I mean, like, you're attracting this shit to you. So I've always tried to be a cheerful person, a happy person, do good to others, not because of, you know, punishment or reward, but just it's an energy thing. You know, you put good out in the world and good happens. And I don't know. That's what I believe in people, in people doing and being good. Yeah, this is boring. Nobody wants to hear this shit.
No, not really. Well, see, like one of the ways I've always looked at it, because I'm most of the time described as, and I don't agree with this, but essentially a nihilist, right? That I don't think when it comes down to it that anything fucking matters. Like when it's all said and done, 100 years, nobody's going to fucking remember who you are. Your life doesn't really matter in the scheme of things.
Sure.
But where I think it matters is that the world's a shitty enough place as it is, right? We all suffer. We all have all this shit going on. So the better that you can make life for people around you, the better your life's going to be. And instead of living in misery, why don't we do shit to make a better place to live? Whether you feel like it has lasting consequences or not, like the immediate need is for my life not to suck and your life not to suck. So the shit, like by being kind to people, by treating people with respect, by doing all that shit, you're making everybody's lives a little bit more tolerable on this fucking spinning shit ball that we're on.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, I probably could, but
that's what I was gonna say. You probably could.
Probably could, but no, I agree with you, man. I really do.
Yeah, well, like my wife's really big into the and I know you're saying more, you know, allegorical, but she's really big into energy stuff and positivity and how that works and balances and attracting positive things versus negative things. And I think there's a lot to that for sure. And because of it's whether you want to call it energy or just your general outlook, like I think that if you're always citing on the positive things, you're more open to positive things happening because you're aware of the things that could be coming your way that are going to be positive, as opposed to always being negative, that you're always looking for the negative side. And that's always what you're going to be gravitating towards. So the positive shit's just as much there as the negative stuff is. You're just not noticing it because that's not where your frame of mind is.
Yeah, you're weighing one more than the other, right?
That they're gravitating towards the one. Right.
Exactly. I had a good buddy of mine, Larson, who military vet, just like Marine, and we agree on so many things. But the quintessential, most pessimistic person I've ever met. I love the dude to death, but he's super pessimistic. You'll see him in the chats on my show. He goes Mike or Mad Mike, whatever. But like he literally has his own hashtag Larson Luck, where like he just swears all these bad things happen to him. So like he'll say like, oh, I went to the grocery store and something fell off my cart, but I caught it before it broke. The rest of my day is shit. and then his tire falls off on the way home. A tree falls on his roof, and I'm like, dude. Part of it, it's like, yes, man, you have some of the worst luck I've ever seen. Bad shit just constantly happens, but then I tell him, like, dude, you have a wonderful wife. You have these two beautiful little girls who are adorable. Like, you have your life, you have your health. He was in an ID that killed everyone else in the vehicle except him. And he lost a big chunk of his leg and everything. But I'm like, there's so many things you have to be grateful for. There's so many things you have to be thankful for. Like, if you just look at the positives in your life, you would stop, I don't know, being so attracted to the negative things that happen. I'm like, yeah, your tire, his tire literally fell off while he was on the highway. Like, it just left the vehicle. And I'm like, yes, that sucks. That's horrible. But I mean, you walked away from it. He was able to slowly pull off the side of the road. Another person's car flips over and your head's caved in. You know what I mean? Like, you got to look at the positive.
It's true, but I think it's easier said than done for some people because everybody's life experience is different, right? And then just depending on, there's 1,000 different layers or variables of why you view things the way you do. And yeah, at a certain point, you can choose to look one way or look another way. You have whatever the fuck it is, because you're an adult but regardless of any of that, like, the things that have happened in your past make who you are, right? And so depending on what those were, and then like your friend, and not to dig into this or anything like that, but like, with having the ID, I mean, there's survivor's guilt, and you know that as well as I do with a lot of veterans, and that plays a big role into all that perspective. And so, and people like that need that encouragement, be like, hey, you have this beautiful wife, you have these beautiful kids, you have all these good things, because they need to hear that shit, because all they see, and I'm not saying that's this specific guy, I'm not trying to
no.
that.
I agree.
But you get things like that. They're like, yeah, I have all this, but these guys that were with me, don't, and that changes perspective for a lot of people. And that's a really hard line to walk, I think, especially when life has kicked the shit out of you in certain areas. Like, I by no means have the wartime experience, but just other shit in my past that's happened. It's some things tend to shape you more than other things. And that a lot of there's layers of where you've come from up to that point that I think can really affect where your mind goes after that shit happens to you. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I think you're spot on. There is, and I mean, he was a Marine, so he's got all the shit to complain about. I've never met a normal Marine before, so
I've never met a Marine that I'm confident I couldn't kick the shit out of in a bar fight.
I'm not saying no. I'm not following that comment at all.
I was trying to bait it, man. I was trying so hard.
Nope. No, but yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what you said, man. There is, I've lost guys, and I know people who've lost guys. Again, in my own personal life, I actually run a support group for disabled veterans. That's just something I do once a month. We get together and just talk about what's going on in our lives. CQ is the hats off, and this is just the veteran who's been through a lot and lost a lot, and just wants to help his fellow vets get through what they're going through. And we support each other, and it's exactly what you were saying. Just remind each other of the positives in our lives, and support each other through transitions and battling VA claims and getting jobs, and
that'll fucking send you off the deep end by itself.
Yeah, for sure. So I try to do what I can to help out my fellow vets, and even if it means being on their shitty podcast, whatever I can do to help my fellow vets, man.
Well, fuck you. But I think a lot of it too, it's a learned skill, like to a large degree. You know what I mean? Like, it takes work, depending on where you've come from, to get to the point to have any type of positivity. Like, it's a learned process for a lot of people, I think. But
yeah,
and some people have an easier time, with that, because again, one of the things that fascinates me, and this is where religion plays in for me too, is like the things that make people how they are, and how, whether it's religion, your upbringing, all that shit kind of affects the type of adult that you become. And then certain areas you can just choose, like, fuck that was stupid, I'm not doing that shit. But other parts are so ingrained, it's you don't even realize it until you have these aha moments, or you never quite figure it out. You just learn to change your thought patterns, even if you don't know why the fuck they needed to be changed to begin with. People are fucking weird, man. We're all fucked up in one way or another.
Yeah.
That's my deep thought of the day. God damn it. And fuck you for your goddamn podcast charity, you dick.
Gotta throw a jab in there, you know.
I know. I appreciate that.
So I gotta to try to steer it back to the pop culture thing. That have you seen the re-release of Justice League?
Yes, all 52 hours of it.
Yeah, and what did you think? Because I haven't seen it.
Pointless.
Man,
That would be the first phrase that comes to mind.
I hear from a lot of people who hated it that it's actually pretty good, but
okay.
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
If you saw the theatrical version, I mean, it was a mess. It was just a mess of a movie. Now, I'm kind of torn about this re-release for a couple different reasons. Because any movie that was 2 hours that's now 4 hours, more or less should be better, right? Because you have more content. Sure. I can feel like I don't know, more fulfilled. You know, imagine a 2 hour cut of Titanic would be weird. But there's just like there's so many decisions that they made with that movie I just don't understand. Because something like already you've bloated the runtime from 2 hours to 4 hours. But what they gave in some spots, what they gave you more of was really good. Like really good, solid stuff, great story stuff, great action pieces. Things make a little bit more sense because they didn't have to cut so much away. But then you've got like there's one scene where like if you saw the theatrical version, you know, Wonder Woman stops these guys at the bank. She stops a bank heist. Mm-hmm. Well, in the 4 hour cut, I swear to God, there's a 4-minute montage of the guys entering the building. Like it's like outside shot, guys getting out of the vehicle, side shot, guys walking into the door, inside shot, guys coming in the door, rooftop shot, guys going up the stairs. And it's like 4 minutes long of these guys just entering the building. And I'm like, what the fuck does this matter? And then there's like these 12 different jump cuts from different angles. And like they made walking into a building the most action-packed thing you can. I'm like, that was just so over the top excessive.
I was gonna watch it, but as soon as I hit it in HBO Max and I saw 4:3 fucking viewing format, I was like, nope, I'm out. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not watching movies in goddamn on my fucking CRT TV in my living room. I refuse to watch a movie
weird,
that
man.
was in the proper format in 4:3. Now, if it was shot intentionally on 4:3, like a Tarantino art fucking whatever, sure. But anything outside of that, no. I want my fucking how it's supposed to goddamn be.
Yeah.
So,
there was just some choices.
I haven't seen it, but I wanted the theatrical release to be good. I really did. I'm more Superman fan as far as any of that stuff goes. I mean, and even that's very light.
Because Superman is the laziest superhero of all time.
But he represents Jesus,
right? But him and Captain America are the two of the worst fucking superheroes that have ever been created.
I've always been a Superman fan, and so I wanted all of that stuff to be good, but it just wasn't. And so I wondered from someone whose opinion, honestly, I would trust on something like that, to know what you had to say about that, because I haven't seen that. It's good.
Yeah, look, it's
better than the theatrical release.
Oh, absolutely, hands down, it's a better movie. I still think you could cut it down to 3 hours, and it'd be a phenomenal movie. Because there was just a lot of extra shit.
So it's bad because there's too much there.
Yeah, if you were to watch it, the way I would recommend to watch it is it is one long movie, but it's weird because they chaptered it. There's like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, even though it's not episodic. I think
so it could have been 2 movies.
Well, I think if they'd have released it as a 6-part miniseries, I think it would have been more palatable than 1 4-hour movie that's literally broken into 6 chapters anyway. It just doesn't make any sense again. But I tell people, like, if you want to watch it in the 6 parts. Like, watch chapter 1 and then pause, take a break, go do something else, and then later come back, watch chapter 2. I think it's a much more enjoyable movie that way. Is it worth a watch? It's worth a watch. It really is, just because to see what his kind of in his mind, what's his version of the movie. Is it a great movie? I still don't think it's a great movie, honestly. Yeah. There's some questionable choices choices in that movie, but for just bear with me, just to stick on that bank scene right at the top of the movie. It's something that bothers me to this day when I think about it. Wonder Woman, who we've seen established as this person who cares about human life and is so valuable and did these different things. In this scene, she goes in, she knows these guys are holding children hostages and they've got guns and there's a bomb about to blow up. And so she does her super fast flash movement, disarms 7 of the 8 robbers instantaneously. Like literally, I say instantaneously because they showed the bomb ticking down and she burst in the room with 7 seconds left on the clock. And by 4 seconds left on the clock, she has disarmed 7 of the 8 guys. Now, she grabs the bomb, realizing she doesn't have a lot of time, jumps through the roof, throws it up into the air, boom, goes off, great. Lands back down. Now, I guess the last guy's like, well, fuck it, my plan's ruined. I'm just going to kill everybody. So starts to shoot at everybody, again, doing her super fast movement, blocks every bullet. So now at this point, she has disarmed, and when I say disarmed, she killed the 7 guys. She threw one guy's head against the wall, and you just see a splatter of blood. That dude's dead, she's doing this in front of children, by the way. They're all there to witness this. She's murdered 7 men. Then she got rid of the bomb. The guy's out of bullets. So now he's just a human being at this point, standing in front of her with an empty gun, no bomb, no nothing. At this point, she could flick him and neutralize him across the room. Instead, she does her little clanky with her bracelets, blows up half the building. They show the outside shot. The entire wall is blown out. So she has now liquefied a man who was no threat. He had no weapon. He was no threat. There was no bomb. He's done. He's been neutralized already. But she liquefied him in front of a group of children 3 feet away and then walks out of there like, well, job done. Like, well,
she was probably thinking a lot of pessimistic thoughts. So that's what the fuck happened to him.
Or she was teaching those kids a good lesson about the patriarchy.
Fair point. And literally following that scene, the little girl's like, hey, one day can I be a hero like you? And she's like, you can be whatever you want to be.
Right.
And I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now? What is this?
So I want to know your theory. So as a whole, with few exceptions, DC cinematic movies have been fucking trash and bombed.
Compared to Marvel, absolutely.
Compared to Marvel. Yeah. Like all the Batmans most of the Batmans have done very well. They nailed it, I think, with Christian Bale. Yeah. I am excited about the Batman coming out with Robert Pattinson. It looks fucking good. I hope it gets that fucking R. But outside of that, they have always floundered hugely with any type of.
So do you feel like the first Wonder Woman was a shit show?
The Gal Gadot one?
Yeah.
The first one? No, I thought it was actually for being DC, which has struggled when it comes to live screen adaptation with movies. I thought it was a phenomenal movie. I really did. The first
suddenly you're saying
Wonder Woman
except the Dark Knight series.
No.
Okay.
I said with the exception. I said that obviously being the standout.
Sure.
But as a whole,
yeah, they're not great.
No, and in Marvel movies, up until technology caught up, have fucking sucked throughout the 70s and 90s and all that shit. But I've always I've never been able to like figure out why, unless it's just the studios that own them respectively, because Sony has fucked up every Marvel movie they've ever done for the most part. Like until Marvel,
I thought the Spider-Mans weren't that bad. I was a big Spider-Man fan. I thought yeah, I give you that. Yeah, the third one was.
But even
it's the studios.
It is. A lot of it's studios because Sony. like even with the X-Men, like they've probably been the best ones that they've done, with the exception of, was it the Amazing Spider-Man, with the newer ones?
Yeah, Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. Like I thought at least the first one of those was really fucking good.
I enjoyed Andrew Garfield.
But I feel like that if Sony would just goddamn give it up, or find a better, like at least take a percentage.
They don't want to let go of it for some
they don't
reason.
Because
like if Marvel Studios could do fucking X-Men, if they could do Fantastic Four, if they could
they're going to.
I heard they're supposed to be doing a Fantastic Four. They're going to.
Yeah. They've announced Fantastic Four. Yeah, for the future. They still haven't announced X-Men, but Fantastic Four is coming.
Yeah, but as a whole, and I've always said, like, I feel like Marvel movies, live action adaptations are consistently better. And but those shitty DC Comics cartoons, fucking great. I love those so much, like all the Batman ones.
Yes. DC
and Marvel cartoons as a whole have been trash.
Yeah, it's crazy because I couldn't agree more. You know, it kind of goes back and forth. So like, you know, you go back and say, okay, you know, Batman, I was gonna say Kevin Costner, but it's not Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton Batman, like that set a bar of like, holy shit, you know, we can do, because prior to that, everything was campy. You know, Christopher Reeve's Superman, campy. You know, the Batman of the 70s, campy. Like that was how you market it. Same thing they did with Ninja Turtles, where Ninja Turtles, the original comic book, was a dark, beheading, you know, killing comic book, and they turned it into that pop campy 80s cartoon. You know, so like everything had been, like the way to market things in the 80s were campy, 70s and 80s. So when you had Michael Keaton come in as Batman and they went super gritty and super dark, which to today's standard, it's campy. Yeah, but at that time, that was some dark shit that they were putting on air on the movie screens.
Well, it was also dark for Michael Keaton as well. I mean, based on the things that he had done. Yeah.
He had just come off Mr. Mom. Like that's when they announced him as Batman, people were like, what the fuck is this bullshit? You can't have Mr. Mom be Batman. But like that was dark and gritty and edgy. And then they went and handed the reins to, was it Val Kilmer and George Clooney, and it went super campy again. And then there's been the back and forth, you know, we've had the Supermans. So from then DC movies kind of not that great. And then, like you said, the Dark Knight trilogy was great. It brought back some superhero balls to DC. With Marvel films, I felt like they were all crap until we got to like Blade. Blade kind of laid again that gritty foundation. Like, oh, we can get dark, but still have the humor, still have the family and the characters and all this. And then, you know, X-Men came out and that was a big deal. Spider-Man came out, that was a big deal. Then all of a sudden you had this renaissance of like, where they're like, holy shit, let's just make everything into a movie. And you had Fantastic Four, you had Daredevil, you had all these movies that came out that they were cash grabs. I mean, that's what it was. The studios, because Marvel was bankrupt. Marvel and DC were like bankrupt in the 90s.
Right.
And so to keep afloat, they sold the intellectual property, the movie rights of all these characters. That's how they kept the comic books afloat. And so studios like Warner Brothers and Sony and all these other companies, they Miramax, and they get these characters. They don't give a shit about the history of the character. They get some guy. They're like, dude, it's a guy, and he jumps off buildings and he fights bad guys. Boom, we got this. Green light it. And because when they made like X-Men and Spider-Man, like these people behind it believed in it and took the time to do it right. And then everything post that was rushed and just not well thought out. And then finally, thank Jesus, you know, somebody in Marvel realized, well, shit, if we do this ourselves, we know these characters better than anyone. If we just build it in-house and treat the characters with respect and reverence and give them this rich history and not worry about the big picture building, but just on the character, on his circle, like we could have success. And they did that with Iron Man, and it's been holy rolling ever since. But then again, DC trying to catch up says, okay, we've got characters, let's throw them in a team up movie. Like it went Superman 1, Superman v Batman, Justice League. And it's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like that is
Right.
We got to build to that, even in the comic books.
I will say that I liked Ben Affleck as Batman. I didn't think
I
I
did.
would. I thought he was a great older Bruce Wayne and a great older
That's it.
Batman for all the shit that I got for the age range he was
So
supposed
many
to be playing.
people didn't like
perfect.
that, and I'm like, you have to think of Batman throughout his lifetime, and he played that aged, wiser. I understand that I'm not who I used to be, and I need the technology and things to help. And it's just, it's very similar to Tony Stark really starting to lean much more heavily on Jarvis and the suit and the technology and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. We didn't go Iron Man 1 and at the end tease the Avengers. It's Tony Stark
of every Marvel movie teased Avengers because you'd have Samuel L. Jackson in for just a moment.
Right. But I'm saying the character of Tony Stark. Yeah, Tony Stark as a character had to slowly evolve from this very selfish, egotistical guy to when you see him in Avengers, he's about the team and he's about making it work. I mean, they didn't do a great job. That was the whole point of the movie.
He's the Bruce Wayne of Marvel.
Yeah, and so no, I agree. I think Ben Affleck was, for what he had to go up against, I think he did a great job. There was just enough humor in it, just enough smirkness. It's a different version of Batman because he's not in the mansion. He's not in the, he's not at the height of his crime fighting career. It feels like he's on the back nine and kind of winding down his career. And almost looking like, hey, I'm going to build this team up so that it has a legacy and there's, coverage when I'm gone. But it's unfortunate. The Joker of that universe was. Yeah, and I'm a Jared Leto fan. I am. I've actually met him in life, and he's a super cool dude. Kind of weird, but I like him as an actor and a lot of the things he does.
Right in the fucking asshole, though, and not in a good way.
But the Joker, they took a swing, and I just wasn't a fan. I get it. Like, how do you compete with Heath Ledger just from a few years ago, just absolutely crushing the role? I think they could have went a million different ways. They could have teased the Joker without ever showing him, and it would have been more menacing. But they took a swing and
Joker. Holy fuck, what a good movie! I didn't think it was. I don't know if people thought it was overhyped, and I didn't think it was at all. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But the one thing Marvel did do that, first of all, the best Marvel movie that was done outside of Marvel Studios was fucking Logan. God damn it, that was.
That was a good movie.
But one thing that Marvel did that it still fucking pisses me off is the Netflix series for the Defenders. When Jessica Jones and Daredevil and all that shit. So like Jessica Jones season 1, fucking amazing. Daredevil season 1, fucking amazing. I thought all of the Punisher was good, but then it was like after that it was like, we don't care, and it just fucking derailed completely. It got almost unwatchable. Like Daredevil by the 3rd season was just trash, and it was all writing. It wasn't anything else, but what got me with those is the characters they chose and the casting was perfect for the fucking characters. Luke Cage was great. Iron Fist, I feel like just fucking finally ruined it for everyone because that was absolute trash. But
that was
but they reference the same universe as the Avengers, right? But it's almost like they got this tiny side spotlight, and the shows were absolutely incredible, but they never meshed and they never gave them the fucking time and money they needed. Which is stupid because the ratings when they dropped were huge. Like the shows were
the biggest thing, biggest thing on Netflix at the time.
I never watched any of those.
They're
shows.
so good, man. So good.
Yeah, the early seasons.
But you're telling me that as it progresses, it gets worse and worse and worse. But I just don't.
No, but the thing is you could watch just Daredevil season 1 and nothing else, and it stands by itself.
Yeah,
it's just if you want to invest in. Let me rephrase it. Yeah, and season 2 is great because that's when they introduced Punisher.
Yeah, Punisher. But here's the thing. I don't know how much you know about what was happening in the background, but that's a key factor in what happened with that show. So when they were announced, think about it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came on TV, and they did a bunch of other shows like The Runaways and Cloak and Dagger or whatever, all in the same universe. And then they announced the Netflix series, the Punisher and whatnot, or Daredevil and all the others. When they were first announced, they were given the same love and attention that the movies were given. And and the same money, same things, and that's why they were so good to start out with. As seasons 1 had finished, Marvel's on a high, and they realize we can make more money, just like they did with the movies, by going. They created Marvel Studios, right? So if you don't remember, the first couple Marvel movies, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, weren't actually made by Marvel Studios. They were made in-house Marvel, but they were distributed and published by like Paramount and all these other companies.
Right.
That's when they created Marvel Studios. They go, oh shit, if we just create our own studio company, we keep all the money. So they created Marvel Studios and did that. Now they realize, holy shit, we're having huge success with Netflix. We're having huge success with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Again, that money is being divided by other companies, ABC, Netflix. They realize, holy shit, if we just did this in-house ourselves, we'd make more money. So in the background, at the same time, they're developing Disney Plus. They're developing the idea that we're going to create, instead of Marvel Studios, the movie, now they're doing Marvel TV, basically, the smaller branch of the Marvel Studios. And so they realize, kind of like, so it's a little dastardly what they did, but from a business perspective, it makes total sense. When Fantastic Four in the movies did terrible, they shut down Fantastic Four in the comic books. They wrote them off. They went into the zone, the other dimension, and they were gone. Yeah. When the X-Men movies were dying out, they benched the X-Men. They put them off there. Oh, they're off planet on Asteroid M. Like, they would downplay it to bring down the value, because they didn't want all these other companies making money off of their characters. So anytime another company was releasing a movie or a project, they would downplay those characters in the comic books to devalue that character, which is eventually why they were able to buy back X-Men and Fantastic Four for pennies on the dollar, because they had completely devalued the characters. And obviously the movie studios had helped quite a bit by making a lot of garbage movies. But then when it came to the Defenders, they realized, holy shit, if we keep doing a good job here, we're just making them money, and we're watering down our own product. So they basically kind of defunded them from the inside and gave them less and less and less, so that eventually, we know what happens. They petered out, and they build up Disney Plus to be their own streaming platform with their own shows. And now they basically said those are not even really canon anymore. They don't. They're what they call them, like legacy. They're kind of part of the universe, but not really.
Yeah, but what kills me about that is whether if they bring them back or don't bring them back, like they won't cast the same people in it because they want that fresh face, which kills me, because if I would take a fucking 4-hour goddamn Punisher movie based off of where the series was. It was so well done, and I loved it so much, and it was everything from like the handful of Punisher movies that have been out, but it's everything you wanted the Punisher to be, like, always. Like, anytime you've seen any of the old shitty movies, John Travolta's like, okay, yeah, if you like the Punisher, they were cool movies, but they sucked. The movies weren't.
I still remember Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher in a movie going way back. That was,
but and they've always tried to make him gritty, but they've kind of kept a little of the camp or the comic booky appeal. And the Netflix version is the first one just to take it fucking dark. And that's that scene in you're not gonna watch this, you don't care, but in Daredevil, the second season, and when he's going through that fucking prison corridor, and
my god,
I was like, oh dude, my little heart just pitter pat. It was so good, so good.
No,
that'll never.
Well, I mean, again, I know nothing insider that anyone else doesn't know, but there's been a lot of rumors with how Marvel's kind of pivoting. So we know the next Doctor Strange movie has to do with multiverses. Like, it's literally in the title, Multiverse of Madness. So between that and in Spider-Man, they're bringing in a whole bunch of random, like, the other Spider-Man villains from other movies and things like that. So the idea of that this phase of the Marvel Universe has to do a lot of parallel universes, multiverses, timelines, different things. There's a way to reboot the Defenders while bringing in some of the cast that they liked and maybe some of the cast that they didn't like. So there's been rumors that John Bernthal will be back as Punisher, that Charlie Cox will be back as Daredevil. It could happen.
roles. I couldn't think of it. Like now, if something else came out, it would be hard to see somebody else. I mean, like with all franchises, you're going to get used to somebody else there, and that's going to do a great job in their own right. But like right now in my brain, like he is the Punisher, and he is Daredevil. Like they really encompass the kind of like Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
when they bring
Heath Ledger was Joker. I don't know why they tried with Jared Leto. I don't know why, but yeah, I hear you.
Dead. Yeah.
Well, that
fucking bring him back, little fucking hologram.
It's CGI. They brought back Paul Walker for the Fast Furious, whatever. Shit.
Oh man, I can't remember what it is now. It was one of the best Paul Walker jokes I've ever heard, and I laughed my ass off.
So if I were going to pick two of those shows out of, I guess, what you're calling the Defender shows, and I was going to watch two shows start to finish, what do I watch?
I think Daredevil and Punisher, because they tie in together really well. Because Jessica Jones was fantastic, but they doesn't relate. Well, Luke Cage. Yeah.
Luke Cage. Yeah.
Like they tie in a whole lot better. That's what I kept trying to say. They tie in a whole lot better than the other two, and they all eventually come together. Like just skip anything having to do with the Iron Fist. That show makes me hate.
I feel bad. I feel bad because what's his name? Finn Jones, who played the character, got so much hate. They're like he doesn't even look like he knows. Like when you find out in the back, like they gave him 2 weeks of choreography fight training for that show. Like you're supposed to be the best martial artist, expert in the world, and like off 2 weeks of fight choreography. I'm sorry, like that's not fair.
But that's what pissed me off about it, is not towards him. I mean, but it was the Netflix choice of how they casted in the training, how they prep for the show. It's like at that point they didn't give a shit, and it shows in how the show is made. Like it had potential because the whole story's fucking great, and it had potential to be such a great show, and it fell so short is what made me mad.
Agreed. And then you look at like the Shang-Chi, what they're doing for that movie. If you've seen the trailer, looks phenomenal, looks amazing, and what Iron Fist should have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I told the same thing to my wife. We watched the trailer the other day. But the weird thing, so Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and Punisher all have a very similar feel as far as how the show's presented. Cage has a completely different feel. It still fits in the world, but the pacing of the show, the soundtrack, how it works is much different than the other ones. But like I thought, like Jessica, I never can remember his name, dude.
David Tennant.
Doctor Who. What's that, David Tennant? He is the best fucking villain of anything I've ever seen. He was so fucking creepy in that.
It was so he did that show. Like if I tell people, like when you're if you don't understand like PTSD or trauma or things like that, you watch that show, like you will have a better understanding of like, oh my god, like the shit that will fuck you up in the head, and like how it affects you, and how your relationships, how you process day-to-day life, how you where addiction comes from, like all that stuff plays into a heavy role into it.
Yeah, it hit hard on a lot of levels for sure. But as far as just good superhero-y shit, I would do Daredevil and Punisher, and watch them chronologically. It's Daredevil season 1, season 2, and then kind of the Punisher. Well, because the Punisher kicks off, it's in a different. They don't cross over right until a little bit. I can't remember the time thing.
Yeah, no, it was Daredevil season 1. Punisher came in at the very tail end of like season 2 of Daredevil. And then when they did his own show, it was kind of weird because it kind of jumped back and forth to technically before, then after. But yeah, I would watch it in that order if you were going to. But yeah, it's worth a watch. It's, oh my god, my camera's all blurry now. But it's worth a watch. It's one of those things where now it's like it's legacy. It's this thing that part of the timeline, part of the universe, but not really ever going to be talked about again or brought up again. But like, is it worth a watch? Like, that's how I feel about this Zack Snyder cut. Like, that's it. Like, that universe is done. They are moving on, which is funny because they're shooting Aquaman 2 and shooting the Flash movie, but they basically said like, yeah, the whole Zack Snyder universe is done, but they're still kind of continuing off. It's such a weird, DC doesn't know what the fuck it's doing.
No.
But it's that's why I say it's kind of still worth a watch because like if only to see like, oh, what would have been, or what was the end of that thing. It's just kind of good to see the closing of that chapter, so to speak. Yeah.
If you could see one, I don't want to say reboot, a relaunch of a superhero franchise made into movies, what would your pick be?
To bring back a superhero franchise?
Bring back, reboot, spit back up, because as all the fucking things are notorious for, redeemed, made better.
Yeah. So something that's
It doesn't have. I mean, obviously you hate DC comparatively. I'm just going to go and alienate those fans from you right now.
DC. I'm more of a mount. I wish
pop culture warrior hates DC. Fucking fanboys.
I wish DC was better. I wish DC live action was as good as DC animation, because they do some phenomenal things with the storytelling of the animation, and yet somehow fall so short when you see the casting and you're like, oh shit, that's was J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. I was like, oh fuck yeah, I like that. Let's do it. And then they just kind of use him for shit. But
I'd like to see a future made Batman-esque movie, like with a Ben Affleck type older, and Mark Hamill actually cast as the goddamn Joker for a live action. Would be fucking sweet.
You think he'd do well in front of the cameras, Joker?
Yes, I do.
Well, if you've seen the Flash TV series, they had him as the Trickster, which is a very Joker-esque kind of character.
The lazy Joker.
Yeah, the lazy man's Joker. So
it's what happens if you had let Riddler and Joker fuck and made a baby, and it's the Trickster.
Yeah, that's pretty. That is very apt description. And then give Mark Hamill the freedom to just hey man, go nuts, to do his best Jim Carrey and just go nuts, just have fun with it. I would love to see a live action Batman Beyond. Go super old, which is when they said Michael Keaton was coming back as Batman for the Flash movie, which mind blown. I was like, oh my god, could they be leading towards a Batman Beyond? I don't think they are, but it feels like the pieces are right there, because you can branch off that Flash story and all right, alternate timeline Batman. It's Batman Beyond is 2099, whatever the hell you want to call it, and just it's this old grizzled Batman who's just worn down to a pulp, and just fuck it, let this kid be Batman. I don't give a fuck, whatever. and just have at it. I think that could be so much fun. I would love to see
him remake Back to the Future and make it not suck. That would be nice.
No, don't. God, fuck you. Fuck you. You don't.
Justin Bieber as
you do not. Oh God, you do not fucking. I swear to God, I will come down there and find you. No, you don't touch Back to the Future. Do not touch it. I don't care.
You don't think that there's anyone that could play Doc or Marty McFly?
I'm not saying that they couldn't. I'm just saying they shouldn't. It's just one of those things. I'm not saying we can't, clone a dead body and bring it back to life. I'm just saying you shouldn't. You shouldn't fuck with certain things.
I want to see Dan Aykroyd play the Doc.
See, no, I was thinking, and I can't. Why I can't think of his name? Bill Murray could probably do a really good Doc, but what's Breaking Bad? Why can I not think of his name?
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston as the Doc. And then
Dan Aykroyd, Marty McFly.
Danny DeVito as Marty McFly. The Bryan Cranston.
Danny actually could play a very eccentric Doc.
It's just one of those things, man. You just don't. No. You don't fuck with a legacy like that. You want to remake Star Wars? You want to remake Harry Potter? I don't give a fuck. I just don't. That's one you just can't.
No, wait a minute. Ray Romano is Doc.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Marty.
Marty. What are you doing to me, Marty?
What's
no. Yeah.
What I want to see is a Back to the Future remake with Tyler Perry playing all the characters.
There you go. Medea goes Back to the Future.
Medea's Back to the Future. Yeah.
Could you imagine what would happen to the world if Eddie Murphy and fucking Tyler Perry teamed up and made one movie where they played every fucking character?
Yeah.
The world would implode.
I hate Tyler Perry, and I would probably watch that. Yeah.
Not really superhero, but back to the question was, gargoyles, man.
I don't want to talk about this.
I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this anymore. We're changing the subject. Give me live action gargoyles, man. Remember the cartoon?
Yeah.
If you can give me a live action version of that, like, I'm game. I mean, I think CGI. You've seen Avatar, like CGI has gotten to a place where I could buy that as a
right.
visual spectacle, and I think it was a great story. I still can't believe it was aimed at kids, but that was some dark shit for Saturday morning cartoons.
I would actually legitimately like to see a non-Michael Bay gloss turd like Ninja Turtles movie, like a proper old school, like gritty, dark. Like I think it could be really, really good if done correctly. But like fucking. It was Michael Bay, right? It wasn't Brockheimer. It
was Michael Bay.
Shit up with explosions. But
yeah, I'm trying to think of someone else who could do that, but I can't think of their name, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, but yeah, Ninja Turtles will be a good one to see.
Tim Burton's Ninja Turtles.
Right. Yeah, Johnny Depp plays Splinter. He could pull it off.
Of course
he could. Yeah. Why not?
And then what's her name plays April O'Neil, who's
Winona Ryder.
No. No, I can't think of her. I can't think of anything else she's been in except for
name one
Fight
thing.
Club. What's her name in Fight? Yeah, there you go. She's has been in multiple Tim Burton things, I think. So yeah, let her play April O'Neil. Just real drugged out April O'Neil.
I haven't fucked like that since grade school. It's one of the best lines in any movie ever.
Yeah. Oh God.
CQ, if you'd had enough, buddy, are you ready to tap out?
I mean,
I got one more question for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Have you been or done any more since the last time we had you on here? Have you done any more stand up?
No, it's a great question actually. Given the COVID situation, no, it's been. Now, here's the funny thing. I did get offered quite a few opportunities to do virtual stand-up, and I have all the respect. Yeah, I respect all the guys out there doing it and attempting it. I can't do it. Like, there's something about being in front of a live crowd, and like it's a give and take. A lot of people think of stand-up as a sole activity that's you're out there alone, but you're with the audience. It's a give and take of the audience. To do virtual stand-up, you have to mute the audience, because if their sound comes through while you're trying to tell your joke, it doesn't work. So the idea of me doing 5-10 minutes of just talking into my computer, like bada bada bing, okay, next joke, like it just, oh God, that sounds horrifying to me.
Right.
So I respect all the guys. I know a lot of comedians. I got a lot of buddies of mine that have been doing these virtual comedy shows, and I come out and I support, and it's hard to watch because it's just them perform. It's when you're a comedian. I'm not gonna say everybody does this, but like I would practice in front of my mirror. I'd practice in front, record myself, and play it back because try to get rhythm, timing, the punchline, the cadence, all these things. It's like watching that. It's like watching someone practice stand-up, and it's a very uncomfortable experience for me. So yes.
So the only joke you're consistently doing is your podcast every week.
Pretty much.
Okay.
That's how I entertain myself, I guess, at this point.
So we're trying to work out the details, and Steven's finding a venue and things like that for us to do some live podcasting stuff. But we're actually looking for people to come in and do some stand-up 5 or 10 minutes between podcasts. If you're interested in coming to Knoxville and doing something like that,
let me know.
Or even coming here and doing Pop Culture Warrior on stage.
That could be arranged. I'll give you guys an exclusive here, something I haven't talked about anywhere else. And one more reason for Steve over there to hate me. So one of the things that it's albeit a small likelihood of possibility, but it's being discussed, is one of our station guys is like, he was big muckety muck in the Army, whatever. He's got connections to Navy. And so later this year, Top Gun is coming out, Top Gun Maverick, and it's a big deal. And the Navy's going to push it hard because, basically promotion for them. So one of the ideas that's being floated around and being back channeled and being maybe happening is we're going to do live shows from the deck of an aircraft carrier, possibly them putting us in one of the like F-16s or whatever and shooting us off the side. I don't know this thing. And then very, very small possibility off that is maybe Tom Cruise being involved as far as, it's almost like a performance for the troops, live show, being able to interview him for the show, whatnot. But this idea of taking the show on the road and doing it live from somewhere else, I'm totally for it. I love the idea. Yeah. So keep me in the loop, man. I can maybe make something happen.
Always.
Fucking I'll bring my blurry camera and everything.
I'm out. I'm
it's fine.
And I'm about to pee.
You're out about an hour and a half.
I was, and I'm about to pee in my pants right now.
So wait, were you on at some point?
Yeah, right. Fuck, man. So earlier, it's funny. You had said something, and then he replied, and you're like, "No, I'm agreeing with you." And I was thinking, you're one of the only people I know that can agree with someone and sound like you're arguing with them at the same time.
I'm very good at it. It's
a talent.
It's a talent.
Yeah, but you'll say, "Yeah, I'm agreeing with you," but the way your phrasing sounds completely like you're disagreeing with whatever they were saying.
Maybe that's what's wrong with me and my wife.
Yeah, probably.
No, we're saying the same thing. It doesn't sound like we're saying the same
thing. Right, because you're saying it like a fucking cunt. That's the difference.
Why are we fighting? We're not. We're agreeing very loudly.
Oh, God.
Well, man, CQ, thanks for coming tonight, man. We had a great time as always. And tell your wife thank you for us as well.
I'm sure I'll end up paying for it.
Do us a favor when you go out there and put your foot down and say, you know what, honey, I will do this whenever I want, and you can go talk to your friends if you have a problem with it.
My wife is El Salvadorian. She will cut me. She will legitimately stab me and be like, "You asked for it." Yeah.
Well, Joey said this.
So. I asked for it. But no, guys, thank you so much for having me. Always a blast. Anytime you want me around, I love it. I get to let my hair down, so to speak. And let me know, man. Maybe we can team up and do a live thing or do comedy, whatever, man. I'm always down.
Sounds good, dude.
Yeah, we gotta do a t-shirt swap. Hit me up, man. Yeah, we gotta do a t-shirt swap.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a Facebook message here in a few minutes and with my phone number, and I'll have to get you one ordered and all that stuff. But yeah, we'll get you something. So
you order me one, I'll order you one. It's fine. Yeah. We'll make it work.
So I'm pretty sure that Talon Burkemper is a 10-year-old kid.
It's possible.
I'm pretty sure I looked them up on Facebook.
Okay.
And so Talon is probably past your bedtime. And Trevor Combs, I don't know who you are. I hope you're not a 10-year-old kid, but hello back to you.
If you are, Joey's looking for something to do later.
Right. So. I need some help cutting the grass tomorrow. Yeah, I got candy.
All right, my friends.
All right.
All right, next
boys.
time.
Next week, Real Fear podcast is on with us, assuming no one's cousin is graduating next weekend. So we'll have them on. We're drinking Bacardi and Coke, and CQ is gone now.
It's all right.
So we're drinking Bacardi and Coke next week. We have the two guys, Justin and Cordell from the Real Fear podcast, and we will be on theirs at some point.
Yep.
And then,
whatever.
I'm trying to think. We have the 3 continent version coming up soon.
We didn't come up with a catchy catchphrase for that.
3 the hard way is what Andre said. He was like, that sounds wrong.
I like it. 3 the hard way. That's good.
Yeah, 3 the hard way. But
if you think about it, in this instance, we're the bridge. We're the bridge between.
As of right now, we're the ones hosting it on our stream.
Fuck yes.
So,
all right, man.
Get some of that sweet Australian love.
Right.
So, until next week. Bye.
Bye.
Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.